What's up, everyone? We're back on the Low Ball Pod. He's Lucas, I'm Owen, and it's been a little while, but we're happy to get back into it, and I think we got a really fun episode today. Like I said, took a little hiatus, had a lot of stuff going on, surgeries, work, but we're keeping the main thing, and we're getting back into it with a fun episode today. We're going to be breaking down the NBA top 100 list released by ESPN, who, Lucas, I know you have a lot of gripes over, but yeah, just going to be doing that. Going to talk a little NFL, a couple of the games we missed this past Thursday night, and then looking ahead to this week, but super happy to be back. Super excited to get into this one with you, bro.
Yeah, man. I'm very happy to be back here as well. Like you touched on a little, of course, we have lives outside of here too, other stuff to tend to, but very happy to be back here with you and looking forward to, of course, building on this and getting back into the groove here, especially as the NBA season is now right around the corner. We're looking at about 2.5 weeks out, so I cannot wait for that. NFL season now in full swing, and there'll be playoffs. Really the dream time of year for a sports fan, but yeah, we're really coming to you today out of a matter of urgency because this list is it's very messy to say the least, and we're going to dive into it and kind of break down what we agree with, everything, the lengthy list that we do disagree with. But yeah, without further ado, I will send the first portion. If you guys don't know, ESPN kind of releases this in 3 different sections. They do players 100 to 51, 50 to 11, and then they release the top 10 on its own. So let me get into the list number 100 to 51 here. Okay.
Did they have like a snubs thing or anything?
I'm not sure if they have an honorable mentions. Let me scroll up here. We'll see. It
Maybe
doesn't look
not.
like too much of it, but I'm sure there are some very notable names left off here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Starting
rated
out with
100, they have the Knicks legend RJ Barrett. Not really mad at
feels
that ranking.
feels pretty
Yeah,
fair. Yep.
a good combo guard who can score the ball and of course has some well documented inefficiencies.
Gonna have to
Stephon
learn to play
Castle,
off the ball this year.
definitely. Yeah. I mean, going into year 2 for Castle, I'm not mad at him at 99. I think that's pretty fair as well.
If he
Um,
gets the shot consistency up, it'll be good.
yeah,
Kessler's coming off a good year. It's fine.
yeah. Here's your guy. A little Celtic shout to Peyton Pritchard.
I
Definitely
think that's fair.
deserving of being on this list as the reigning 6th man of the year. Um, Definitely expecting also maybe a statistical jump from him this year. If Boston's planning to be competitive, maybe 17, 18 a game. I could see that within the realm of possibilities there.
Yeah. I know a lot of people have always been saying, Pritchard would be near star level guy in a bigger role, so he's going to get a big opportunity to show it. Plays
Yeah,
hard on defense too, for his size limitations. So if he can round himself out into a more of a full time level guy, he could certainly climb up this list because we know the offensive threat is always going to be there with his gravity.
of course. And you guys have a big offensive void to fill as well, of course, with some of your departures. I expect Anthony Simons to be a huge part of that as well. So I'm definitely excited to see how your scoring distribution does pan out this year, outside of course, Jaylen Brown will be leading the way. But here we have Naw at 96, an awesome two-way guard. I think that's pretty fair as well. Don't feel too much of a type of way about that one. PJ Washington, a good two-way forward. Again, it kind of seems like some role players they're throwing in this lower tier here, which makes sense. Washington should be poised for another pretty involved season with Dallas, especially as they're continuing to look to contend there. Devin Vassell, someone who has almost kind of gotten left behind, it seems like, in this next era of the San Antonio Spurs. But he's
He's
still,
coming off a pretty bad year.
yeah, he was definitely down last year. And I mean, I feel like that can be accredited to just the new faces and kind of just switching up their entire identity as a team. Before Wemby came along, he was like supposed to be the guy for them, and then
Right.
they hit the lottery and land the first pick, and everything changes. So we'll see what he can do this year as that team continues to grow and turn into more of a contender.
Yeah, great scorer. I think just has to adjust to, playing that secondary role a little bit more.
Now here, I'm not going to be biased this video. I love Mitchell Robinson. I do not think Mitchell Robinson is a better player than Jakob Poeltl. Jakob Poeltl is also a lot more attentive, I'd say, as far as his attendance has been throughout his career. But
Right.
I would do that swap in a heartbeat for sure if I could. But shout out to Mitch. Definitely excited to still have Mitch on my team. Someone who should still be in the top 100 for sure.
This list, I've noticed, bakes a lot of playoffs into account where, Mitch showed some awesome flashes. I get it's exciting, but
he was
they
awesome
were just flashes.
Yeah.
And also offensively, a lot of work to be done.
Well, what's curious out of Nick's camp, at least that I've been seeing, I believe Mitch is going to be the starter for the opening night for us.
Double big all year?
Yeah, it seems like we're going to be going Jalen, McCall, OG, Cat, Mitch, and then bring Josh Hart off the bench for a little more versatility.
I do like that.
I'm totally fine with that. I think Hart historically has been someone who's come off the bench a lot. He did it in New Orleans, and I believe he did it with the Lakers as well. But
it just raises the defensive ceiling a lot, not having Cat as your rim protector, and maybe you're able to hide him a little bit more, and hopefully he's getting a little bit more mobile. But
yeah, no, I like that ranking.
I think that year, 2 years ago in Minnesota, showed a pretty good team build in that way. So
yeah, and now he's playing with a better center, so that's awesome. But we're going down here to the skin and bones of Drew Holiday. I'm excited to see, honestly, all jokes aside, what he can do for the culture in Portland this year. I think this is a fine ranking, and we can see last year they were a lot higher on Drew. He definitely had a rough season this past year. But I think he definitely has a little bit of gas left in the tank and can at least be a great veteran presence for those young guys.
Yeah, he's lost just a lot offensively. The off the dribble stuff has just been a little less and less. So, we used to be able, I think, to bank on his playmaking a little bit more, but he just athletically starting to slow down a little bit. But you're right, great leader, still can stick with guys defensively, and just a solid good glue piece. But I wouldn't be too comfortable with him as more than like a fifth or fourth option on a team. But I think he's a great fit culturally for the Blazers for sure.
Realistically, that should be probably exactly what he is for Portland this year. So, and I also like kind of the similar mentalities carried between him and a Chauncey Billups. So Portland, as we've touched on before, just a team I'm pretty optimistic on. I'm excited to see them this year. Moving down here, we do have Naz Reid, someone who absolutely deserves to be in here. I don't know if I'd say Andrew Wiggins is better than Naz Reid at this point, especially after some of these playoffs that he was able to string together. But Wiggins is someone else who should definitely be on the list. A top 100 guy. I believe he was around 18 a game last year for Miami, and should continue to be a starting forward there and provide some value. This one I'm really not a fan of here. I would take pretty much everyone we've seen so far, I feel like, over Zach Edey. And below him is a little bit gross as well. I'm not a fan of these two rankings here. A backup center.
I'm really confused about this one.
Yeah, this one's a head scratcher to me. I don't think Valanciunas should be on this list personally. I would take pretty much everyone we've seen so far over Jonas, and I think I'd say the same for Edey, especially based on his attendance. Keep going here. Beal definitely had a down year. It's well documented, but this does seem a little bit low for him at this point. He's still a very capable scoring guard, and someone who the Clippers should be very happy to have added this year, amongst all the drama that's going on down in LA. But it feels low for Beal. There is no way there is a one-player gap between Jonas Valanciunas and Bradley Beal.
Yeah,
sounds
obviously
crazy.
it was hard to separate Beal from his contract's impact in Phoenix, but he really was not this bad of a player. Still very solid offensively, a good connective piece, and I think he's going to have a good year for the Clippers. I mean, the defense is pretty bad. You can definitely see that he already has his money a little bit on that end. He's not as concerned, which can certainly have negative effects. But I mean, as a guy who can kind of generate some serious spark into your offense, I mean, Bradley Beal's still a guy who can put up, close to 30 on any given night. And I think that deserves
Yeah,
to be a little closer to the top 75 than this.
yeah, I definitely agree. They're projecting him for about 15 points next year. I could definitely see him exceed that.
Mm-hmm.
Going down, Jaden Ivey. Not mad at this ranking. He's someone who should be healthy to start the season after he went down last year with what I believe was a leg injury, and then he missed the rest of the regular season and the entirety of the playoffs. But Detroit will be very happy to have him back this year. They definitely need that boost on the offensive end. Cade can't do it all, and yeah, I think that's a fair rating. But I don't know if I'd say Tobias Harris is better than Ivy at this point. I mean, Harris is kind of a guy on the way down who's like a high quality role player, but I would say Ivy's ceiling at this point is definitely superior.
Feels like they got to be missing some guys from this upper half,
Oh, they definitely are.
like I guess maybe Tumani Kamara comes to mind as a guy who should have been in this range.
Tumani Kamara, I'd take over a lot of people that we've already
Is he not
mentioned.
on the
Like,
list? Like that could be good. Maybe he's
I'm
a little
guessing at this
higher.
point, if he's not there by like 75, they probably didn't throw him on
Yeah,
here.
I think the
But
same with Herb Jones too. Two guys who
I would
should,
hope Herb Jones is on here. That would be a big issue if we don't see his name.
even with some of
Um,
these guys. I know a lot of people aren't high on like Jalen Green, but like
I would
just
expect him to be on here still. We'll see.
just some guys I was thinking I'd see by now.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Um,
Kuminga just signed the big deal,
yep,
obviously in
finally settled that.
in Golden State. Really not sure what the end goal with that is. I think you want to consolidate him as an asset and make sure he doesn't walk away for nothing. But I really do think he would be better off as kind of a trade candidate for them.
Yeah,
Has not shown to fit their style of play and really isn't too impactful off the ball, but a great athlete and a guy who I would love to see in a more prominent role, but I don't know if that's in Golden State.
yeah. His play style has really just never fit what they've tried to do here. And Steph Curry's going to be 38 in March, so I still think they should have moved off this guy. Just doesn't quite fit the timeline, and
Yeah.
is an awkward fit among the players that they already possess. Moving down, good ranking for Norman Powell, someone who
Yeah.
had an awesome season last year, and should have a prominent role at the beginning of this season with Tyler Hero set to miss some time. So we'll see if Powell can step in and fill that void for a little bit for them. I'm sure he
If we
can
were
too.
going off just last season, he would probably be a little higher than this. I know he slowed down towards the end, but probably one of the best shooters in the league last year. And he's
And
going to be in another featured role this year. I love the way he kind of shoots off movement. And yeah, he certainly was that kind of addition by subtraction with the Paul George situation from last year for sure.
yeah, Powell was someone that was getting some love for an All-Star nod around that time of year. So definitely deserving of being here. And like you said, wouldn't be mad if he was a little higher. Andrew Nemhard, obviously deserving to be on here. Probably a fair range for him. Well documented, amazing playoff run that he was able to string together. I was on the short end of part of that, so definitely did see him shine a good amount. And we'll see what he can do
Yeah.
this year with the full season absence of Tyrese Halliburton.
Really impressive what he was able to do for some of those stretches on the defensive end in the playoffs. And he can be really fun to watch on the offensive end. So I think him in an increased role might be pretty fun this year for sure. But yeah, I mean, this list definitely values the playoff impact a good bit. So no surprise to see him here, and could have even potentially seen him a little bit higher the way that they do things. But I think this is super fair for him. Love his
Yeah.
defensive impact and just kind of that feel he has for the game.
Is it crazy to say he had one of the best isolations we've ever seen with that top of the key size up of SGA
Yeah,
in the finals?
he did a great job on Brunson in
Yeah.
was it game 6 or so too. So
Yeah.
he had some pretty awesome moments where he can just be so quick on the perimeter and kind of seal that space between the ball handler, and yeah, so
Believe it or
super fun
not,
guy to watch.
I was just about to give ESPN a little bit of props because we're about a fifth of the way through, and
Not horrible yet.
it's not horrible yet, but this one I really don't understand. This is very low for someone who's been as consistently good and dominant throughout his career as DeMar DeRozan. I get it. The Kings aren't very exciting. This isn't a team that's projected to do much this year. But, I mean, even last year, you had him as a top 50 player. What really changed, right? I mean, I would feel comfortable still having him in that area for sure. I think this is very disrespectful to DeRozan, someone who might be in the Hall of Fame when he hangs it up.
I mean, I get he's a pretty popular guy to underrate and be lower on because he doesn't really have too much of a game outside of the 3-point line, but he is just still so automatic from the mid range, has the ability to stop and pull up. You maybe are seeing a little bit less of him getting down to the rim these days, but just like the patience, the footwork that he still possesses, you can see that even though he's going into, his later twilight years, he's built up such a ability to get to his spots and just hit it with all different types of maneuvers and tools at this point. I mean, he shoots at a lot of fun angles. So also the playmaking has gone up a good bit too. He was it was a long time ago I was looking at this, but I think he was up close to like 5 assists a game this past year. So,
and I want to say he touched like damn near 7 assists a game when he was with the Spurs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he has some great playmaking knacks for sure.
Yeah,
and it's kind of fun.
Good feel.
Fun when like a veteran like DeRozan with his type of skill set kind of hits his twilight years. Like you could just see the mastery of his in between the arc game and everything like that kind of come to fruition because he'll just lean on it all the much more as the athleticism kind of declines. But I'm not a fan of 80 for DeRozan. I'm sure we'll be taking him over a lot of the guys to come.
Awesome career on him too. He's
yeah. Oh,
quiet,
look at Kamara.
Quietly. Okay, there we go. Yeah,
glad he made it. And Big O,
Okongwu? I don't know. I don't
know. No, this is definitely high for him.
I really don't know.
I probably would put him more.
We're talking about Okongwu over DeRozan.
DeRozan.
That's ridiculous.
I don't know where you get that from. That's ridiculous. And we are big Toumani Camara guys here. I was definitely happy with that ranking as well, but I'm not ready to say that he's better than DeMar DeRozan. They have very different games, tough to compare. But
yeah, I mean, I like Okongwu, but there's pretty obvious size limitations to his overall potential. I mean, he's like a 6'8" center or so. So
right.
Fun player to watch, but kind of borderline starting caliber. You're not super happy if you're rolling him out in your starting lineup. So
yeah, I mean,
they clearly made the move to get away from that this year.
Exactly. Like this is someone who people were excited about to steal that starting spot from Capella forever, right? And it kind of just never happened. And at the end of the day, he's a great backup big, and that might be his ceiling, which is fine. But I'm not putting Okongwu over someone who's a multi-time All-Star and All-NBA player. That's not right.
For sure. But Kamara here, I think this is a good spot for him. Still, I don't know if I'm putting him above DeRozan, but you just got to get over that. And he's just dog on the defensive end. We've actually talked about him a good amount on this pod, but he's just kind of the heart and soul of that scrappy Trailblazers team. And, one of the main reasons they've been, rising and not a complete bottom feeder.
Yeah, without a doubt. Very high on what Kamara does, and a lot of it was evident last year when Portland put together some kind of under-the-radar dominant stretches. He was the main catalyst for a lot of that, next to Denny Avdia. So, shout out to Kamara. Glad he made the list.
Quietly, I didn't realize this, but I think after our draft video, I was looking at his numbers too. Quietly has been pretty good from beyond the arc too. He's kind of had that feel translate to offense because his three was up at like 37%, which really surprised me. But that's a huge factor too.
Yeah, that's huge. If you can have someone with that all-NBA defensive impact and you can't leave them open,
makes
you're
him
going to play 35, 40 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
Moving down here, my guess is this is mainly based off of the extreme lack of availability we saw from Ingram last year. But regardless, again, this is a very low rating for someone with the talent and offensive caliber of Brandon Ingram. I'm of the belief that he will definitely bounce back this year. We talked about it before, but I do like the fit in Toronto. And I think that the in-between game that he's going to bring to Toronto is huge for them because none of their other starters really excel in that area. So I'm excited to see him this year, and I hope he can stay on the court.
Yeah, I think injury has to be baked into this just a little bit because he's certainly shown that he is better than this. And another one of those guys who kind of similar to DeRozan almost a little bit, but with some more height and wingspan. He's really good in the mid-range and also just has that length to kind of get up and above. And it's also contributed to his pick and roll ability as well. So I would say this probably has to be baked into his. What has he had problems with? I think it's been his ankle for a couple years now that's nagging him. So,
I mean, last year he had to miss over 50 games, no, with that issue. I mean,
ridiculous. He lost. Yeah, I think he played like 20 or 30 games and has an ankle sprain and is out for the season, which is
like I remember he got moved to Toronto and everyone's excited, and he didn't play a single game for them. So we'll see if that's behind him now. If it is, I would expect him to shoot up this list for next year. I mean, we could see last year they had him at 40, so that makes more sense to me. But Brandon Miller, yeah, definitely should be on this list. This is probably a fair range for him at this point. I would expect him to be a lot higher next year. I think this is an awesome position for him to take an offensive leap and a leap overall in his entire game. And I'm excited to see what the Hornets can put together this season. I know they had the exciting offseason addition of Con Kneppel as well as Colin Sexton. And I'm excited to see what this young core can do.
Yeah, I think you're just kind of waiting for Miller to take this next jump. It didn't come this year with the injury concerns, but we've seen the flashes in games. And yeah, I maybe would like to see a little bit more of the other stuff with him in terms of maybe, getting a little more aggressive on the boards, only under 5 rebounds for a guy who's 6'10" or so.
Yeah, he's tall.
Probably could put in a little more effort on both sides. But
and that would be the next step for
talented
too.
Yeah.
So, moving on, Jaden. Yep, definitely should be on this list, and maybe even a little bit higher as one of the premier two-way stars in this game. Last year they had him around the same exact spot, so I guess I'm not too mad about this positioning, but I could see him maybe flirt with top 60 going forward. Moving on.
Just super athletic guy, on ball, off ball defense. He's been great, especially defensively in the playoffs. So he was super consistent this year.
I would definitely take him over a Jabari Smith and a Derek Lively for that matter.
What is
He's
Lively still doing there, man?
yeah, that's pretty bold. And last year they had him 56. That's crazy. Um, Jabari Smith is someone who hasn't quite all put it together yet, but he's shown flashes and shows he can be at least a solid contributing piece for the Houston Rockets. But to me, he hasn't shown nearly enough to justify putting him over Jaden McDaniels, someone who's been a premier member of a team that's made multiple deep playoff runs.
Dude, I
And
can't lie. I don't know if Lively would really be on my list. I think that's pretty insane to have him at 73. I mean, I see the potential for sure, but
73 is crazy. It is.
I mean,
I'd probably put him more, maybe just in the 90s. I think it's fine that he's on the list, but I think this is very high.
like some of the guys that he's on this like over, it's pretty insane to me. I mean, RJ Barrett was number 100. I mean,
RJ Barrett's better.
I think I would pretty comfortably take Barrett. I mean, Lively, insane athleticism, and has maybe shown a little offensive flashes, not nearly enough to have him here. I think the run from their finals run is probably, biasing this a little bit here. And he's another guy who you really have to bake injuries into as well.
Yeah, and I guess their argument here is that he has the potential to develop into a defensive player of the year. I would say that's more likely for the first overall pick that they just brought aboard, as well as Anthony Davis, someone who is still never received that award and is very well deserving. But
I don't see him like really developing that much this year. It's pretty crowded front court.
It's crowded, and it's not like he has like this diverse offensive game that has much room for growth. He's kind of more just a lob threat, so more of a one-dimensional type of guy on that end.
Like where we are right now, I assume Gafford's not going to be on this at this point. Like, is he really that much better than Gafford at this point? I don't really know.
One guy I will say, I'll definitely take him over Valanciunas. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
But also, man, this seems low for someone the caliber of Zach LaVine.
He had an awesome year.
They've been hating on the Kings, man. I mean, to have both LaVine and DeRozan outside of the top 70 is disrespectful. And again, I know this team isn't gonna, or at least projected to amount to too much, but these are two guys who have been the definition of consistency and are all-star caliber players who I think should at least be in the top 50. This is disrespectful.
Yeah, I mean, LaVine is like, I think become one of the better off-ball players in the league for sure. And I would have liked to see his career trajectory, maybe round out a little fuller. Early on, he was definitely more aggressive getting downhill into the rim. And obviously, we remember the dunk contest has that athleticism to do so. But I mean, the guy has been just ridiculous from beyond the arc, especially this past year. I mean, he really had an underrated year. He was up well over 40% from three this past year. I don't have the actual number right now, but he was one of the best shooters in the league this past year. I remember I was potentially advocating for the Nuggets to trade for this guy because of 44% from three, man.
Unbelievable.
And 51 is the 51 field goal percentage. I mean, that is insanely efficient. I remember I wanted the Nuggets to give up, a substantial package for this guy because of how good of a number two option he could be.
Him next to Jokic would be a dream. And one of four players last season to average 20 points and shoot 50-40. So that type of efficiency is incredibly valuable. And if we take a look at the other three names mentioned here, they're all going to be within the top 15 players. So that kind of speaks to the company that Zach LaVine is in. Should definitely be higher.
Yeah, not to say that he's a better player than Fox, but he was the big, trade component in that. And did the Kings really fall off that much after losing Fox and gaining him? And I assume they're going to have Fox, probably in the top 40. So
right. Yeah, put some respect on the Kings, ESPN. Moving on here. Kobe White, I would take Zach LaVine over Kobe White with confidence.
Definitely.
He's
I
someone
mean, they
who's
were on the same team, as
I mean,
much as this year, and he was the better player.
LaVine is way more established, multi-time All-Star. Kobe White's kind of just coming into his own right now. And, I mean, let's just even look from the efficiency standpoint. Kobe White shot about 6% less from the field and about 8% less from three. And, yeah, I mean, neither of them are stars on the defensive end, but Zach LaVine is surely a stronger guard than Kobe White as it stands right now.
Yeah, I would say like LaVine is, these guys both kind of hang their hat on shooting and, spacing the floor. And LaVine, you can just see by the numbers, is much more efficient. Neither of these guys are going to be, really close to your number one option. And I think in their respective roles, LaVine fits so much better as a secondary option than a Kobe White, who, I mean, doesn't he spaces the floor well, but is a guy who's going to want to control the ball a lot. And I would say he's probably a better ball handler than LaVine, but what does it amount to at the end of the day?
He also cannot get above the rim like LaVine. Like, his offensive game's just a little bit more limited. Being a worse shooter at that point. Yeah, I can't get behind that.
I'm sure he's much more inefficient as like a turnover perspective too.
I can't get behind Michael Porter being above these two guys either, to be honest. Especially LaVine. I mean, you're telling me,
dude, that's crazy.
If Denver swapped those two players last year, they wouldn't have had more success if they had LaVine instead of Porter. This is a bold ranking, and maybe they're projecting him to take off offensively with the volume he's going to get on Brooklyn, but it's not going to amount to any wins, I can tell you that. Porter's made some headlines this summer with
I think
some funny moments, but
I think his PR team is driving this ranking up.
That might be the catalyst there.
This is this is way too high, especially looking at some of the guys here. I mean, not a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. A good guy to be your third or fourth option, but he is just that and really can't provide too much more. I mean, he was in as perfect of a situation as it gets, being Jokic's kick out guy. So we'll see. I think it could get kind of ugly with him.
Yeah.
He's a guy who I think really needs to be confined to a very strict role because he does not necessarily have the thoughtfulness to orchestrate a key part of your offense. So probably going to be a lot of shots from MPJ this year. We'll see how it affects his numbers overall. But yeah, not nearly
an effective fantasy option, but I don't know if I'm going to give him too much props for real life.
I mean, how much better does it really get? I don't see him as a guy who can create his own shot really much at all. And that's probably what he's going to have to be doing a good amount on this team. I mean, he's playing next to Jokic is, as ideal as it gets. You're getting a lot of shots created for you, a lot of open abilities, which I think fits Porter Jr. well. So I know he's going to get a lot more shots, but
yeah, from my point of view, I don't expect the efficiency to maintain, but he's someone who only really needs a sliver of space to get his shot off and is no stranger or has never been scared of needing to take a difficult shot. So I think his numbers could be pretty juiced up this year, but the efficiency and the win column could be very ugly. So that's the trade-off with Porter. Moving on here, second Nick on the list. Shout out to Josh Hart. Would I take Josh Hart over Zach LaVine? I'm going to be honest and say no, but I'm very happy that he did make the list and he's still very deserving to be on here. Hart is projected to, believe it or not, come off the bench for us this year. And I really love that out of Mike Brown and going with the starter Mitchell Robinson, Josh Hart off the bench for some versatility. Really excited to watch these guys play. They had their first preseason game the other day, and man, can't wait for the season. Moving on here.
Yeah. Might just want to move on. No, if you want to hear too much of my thoughts on that one, but I think that's one of the higher ones so far. I mean,
he does a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
I think it's a fair ranking, but
that's
he shouldn't be ahead of some of those guys.
Yeah, that's exactly what he does. He, does kind of everything the team needs him to do, and, sometimes a little extra, which is good or bad. There were definitely some hiccups in the playoffs this past year, but I think the effort does, push him up and make him a very valuable player as long as he's in his role. But I mean, compared to some of these guys, just the skill set is not there
Yeah,
compared to what we've seen.
but the
Great
podcast,
rebounder though. Great
the
rebounder though. I'll
podcast
give
game,
him that.
that's got to be taken into consideration.
Yeah, that's probably doing some more work. You got the MPJ and him duo here, so.
Moving on to
Whoa!
first-time All-Star Tyler Hero. This is very, very
After
low.
after the year that he just had, this is, I think, one of the more disrespectful ones on the list so far.
The only way I'd give them the benefit of the doubt is if they are taking into account the surgery that he had and that he's going to be missing some time. But Tyler Hero is a top 50 player in the league right now, and that shouldn't really be up for debate.
His
Tyler Hero is better than Cameron Johnson without a doubt. I know Cameron Johnson is going into an exciting new role, but come on, you're telling me that if the Nuggets had the opportunity to swap these two and get a healthy Tyler Hero, they're going to turn that down. I don't know about that.
I mean, dude, Hero has done so much for his game this past year too. He really improved so much. I know he was in kind of the most improved player conversations, but his ball handling took such a step. His kind of inside game, as he was asked to command a much bigger role in this Miami offense, he, isn't necessarily a guy who you absolutely want to be your number one option. But this past year, he was a capable number one option that brought his team to the playoffs. This team did not have a lot of creation outside of him, and he stepped up and did that to a large extent. He started playmaking a lot for this team, something he wasn't asked to do a lot in the past. Shooting from everywhere, he became a very, very effective shooter, on the move, because he was a guy who had to have the ball in his hands all the time. And was he an all-star this year? I think he was,
Yep,
right?
he was a first-time All-Star this
Yeah.
season.
So, and deservingly so. He was putting up an awesome year. I mean, is that his numbers from this year? That was probably similar to his numbers from this past year.
Last year, I believe he was around 23, 5 and 5.
Yeah. So I mean,
and that's all the markings of a top 50 player for sure. Like you said, a ton of development in his game last year, as of course the departure of Jimmy Butler led to a more prominent role for the likes of Hero. And he was the best player on Miami last season. I mean, I think he had a better
clearly,
season than
yeah.
Bam, and Bam will probably be within their top 30. So, yeah, definitely disagree with this one here. Moving on, we do have Cam Johnson. Like we said, a player we're still excited about, given his new situation in Denver. But at the end of the day, he is a high level role player and someone who should not be above some of these stars. The likes of Zach LaVine and Tyler Hero should definitely be higher here. And DeRozan. I mean, come on. Disrespectful.
Valuable guy, but a role player compared to some serious stars we've seen. I think overall the art of shot creation has gotten pretty disrespected in the NBA as a whole, just because it is probably more common than it was in past eras, and not every team needs that. But that is still like a very, like, in terms of like actually like who is a better player than who, not just like who like fits a role better. When you're getting deeper into a team, because obviously not every team can be full of these DeMar DeRozans and more ball dominant guys, but like I don't know, man. I love Cam Johnson, but
Yeah.
definitely.
No, I mean, the shot creation is an integral skill, and especially when the game slows down and it's a half-court type of game that you see in the playoffs, you see how important and essential that skill is for every contending team to have. And to kind of, I mean, Tyler Hero was like the NBA's golden boy for a little bit, and like now that he's broken out and is in this first option role, you then move him down the list. Like that's just sideways to me, and I really don't understand that. I do, however, understand the ranking of Denny Abdia here, and I think this is a fair spot for him. Someone who kind of broke out last season, and he averaged around, I believe, 17, 8, and 4. And in the second half of the season, you saw him take a statistical jump as well. He's someone who I project to be the best player for Portland going forward. And I think this list would reflect that too. Unless they have like Shaden Sharp higher up here, but I would be shocked if they did. But yeah, I'm excited to see again what Denny and the Blazers can do this season. And I think this is a fair ranking for him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to be a top 55, top 50 guy next year.
Yeah, we've talked a good bit about Denny, but he's, transformed into a very complete and all-around player who can, give you a little bit of everything, but in a very positive way and, very full. Like, he has taken a big step as a shooter. He's always kind of had that defensive and athleticism ability. He's a guy who hustles on both ends, and now he can, score almost on all three levels and does a little bit as a playmaker. So no problem with Denny being here.
Yeah, good ranking. Aaron Nesmith. Yeah,
that's high. That is high.
Yeah, this is
that
high.
Is very high.
Mean, at the end of the day, what really separates Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nembhard, right? I mean, Andrew Nembhard they had in like the low 80s, and I would even argue that Nembhard's better than Nesmith. I mean, he offers a lot more on the ball, and they're both pretty elite defenders. I'm sure Nesmith is a stronger defender as he's bigger, has a bigger profile to him, and can definitely cover more ground and a wider variety of players. But I still think Andrew Nembhard is a more talented offensive player and someone who I'd expect definitely to take more of a statistical jump in Halliburton's absence than Aaron Nesmith.
Yeah, I think Nesmith maybe is just a little higher because of the consistency on offense, especially as a shooter, being able to fill in a little bit more, but they should not be like 30 spots apart for sure. But yeah, I mean he's a good player and he showcased it this playoffs, especially in terms of kind of those softer skills. His in-between game definitely took a step, and obviously his defense has been the bigger difference maker in terms of his game, but I don't know. He's still not like one of those terrifying defenders with like a huge wingspan or like, complete hound. Like he's good on defense. He's not as good as this is saying. Like, is he really better than Herb Jones, who probably isn't going to be on the list at this point? Tumani Kamara, like,
yeah, I think Kamara is definitely
he's above. I mean, he's above McDaniels too. It's like he's in kind of this build, but I don't think he's. I mean, that's what I said. They bake a lot of the playoff into this, and he obviously had that insane moment against your team. Sorry to remind you of it, but that is certainly being cooked in a lot.
And I think that's fair, but yeah, I would still take Nembhard over him, in my opinion. Moving on here, another guy who was in the finals as an elite two-way guard. Not mad at all at this ranking from Lou Dort, one of the premier two-way players in the league, and someone who has received a lot of flowers now, well-deserved in my opinion, after this finals run for the Thunder. Someone who was an absolute menace defensively all season. All defensive first team, I believe he made, and was one of the catalysts for why this is a historic Thunder defense this past season.
Yeah, I mean, he probably has the better argument of these guys in these builds that we've seen at the perimeter defenders, but the names that are coming up now are just kind of showing just how egregious, especially that hero ranking is. Man, that hero ranking has me pretty brutal. Pissed off. Like, this dude is not like I love me some Lou Dort. I love me these 3-and-D wing players, but like these guys are not better than Tyler Hero
Yeah.
and Zach LaVine, and this is
We're talking about who's better at basketball. Like,
yeah.
get real here. Like, some of these, and this is the part of the list that you may have seen clipped all over X, all over Twitter. Just brace yourselves for these next few. I mean,
Oh
we have
my
LaMelo
gosh.
Ball here, who is a young, borderline superstar when he's healthy. And they have him here outside of the top 60. Someone who averaged, I want to say, 27 and like 6 rebounds and 9 assists when he was healthy last year. I mean, how many guys can you say that for? Maybe 10 other guys in the league, and they have him outside of the top 60. Again, similar with Hero, someone who was a golden boy for the NBA. I mean, they loved the marketing and promoting this guy, and now after a couple injured seasons, they kick him to the side, and he's outside of the top 60. So this is one of, in my opinion, the worst rankings we've seen so far, and yeah, pretty disgraceful.
I don't even know if I can really get into this one because it is so ridiculous. But I mean, the other guys, you could argue, they're more ball dominant players who aren't necessarily meant to be in that role. You don't really want them as your best player. But on the other hand, this guy has proven to be an offensive engine, even though he hasn't necessarily proven to do it in a super winning context. I mean, just look at his stats from this past year. He was, like you said, like 26, like 7-7. Like, he's one of the best playmakers in the league. He has a bag that's one of the craziest, pulls out some of the craziest stuff that you'll ever see on any given night. Like, his ability offensively, just take half of the guys we've seen so far, combine them, and you don't even get close to what a LaMelo Ball does. I mean, this is a guy who you can trust to run a very, very awesome offense, even though it hasn't necessarily been that way in terms of seeing postseason success or anything along the lines of that. But sometimes you just got to open your eyes and tune into a couple of games and watch what LaMelo Ball is doing versus, I mean, he's one spot ahead of Lou Dort, bro.
If
He's
you
one
watch him
spot ahead of
basketball,
Lou Dort.
yeah, just what ESPN. If you watch him basketball, man, I promise you will change his ranking up a lot.
Like, they're saying it's not that crazy if LaMelo is traded for Dort tomorrow. Like, that's almost as fair as it gets, man. Jeez.
And talk about impact. Like, yeah, LaMelo misses time, but how about this stat they lead for us right here? This team was 3-32 when he sat out last year. You're telling me they got 3 wins in 35 games without their best player? How's that for impact? Scrolling down, it just makes you want to throw up. I mean, you have Christian Braun at 62. This is, to me, the worst ranking so far, without a doubt. I can't even begin to string together why they put him here. Yeah, good season last year. I'll give you that. He was one of the best transition players in the league, and I think he averaged a career high of around 15 points. But yeah, we're giving this guy a pat on the back for reaching 15 points when LaMelo Ball averages 27, 7, and 9. Like,
Dude,
I don't know, man. I really don't know.
I don't even want to waste my time on this,
Yeah,
bro. Like,
we're gonna
that
get past
is comical. That is comical. That is just, this dude's a Jokic merchant. I would be fine if he wasn't on the list. I
Yeah.
mean, realistically, he should be like in like the 90s or so. But I mean, like, is Christian Braun? I mean, he makes his name off of transition buckets and that type of stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to be like racist or anything, but look at him. Do you really think he's like one of the most like athletic dudes in the NBA? Like, his transition numbers would suggest, or is he maybe just playing with one of the best transition passers ever and, plugged into as good of a situation as a role player can be? I mean,
So
I can't spend too much time on this. I mean,
if your main
good
skill
good play.
is cherry picking, I don't want to have you in the top 65. I don't want to have you in the top 95. This is the worst one by far, and it's just going to keep getting worse as we go down here with
Blood pressures through the roof right
Zion
now, bro.
Williamson. Zion Williamson, yes. I guess if I want to say one thing, yes, Zion Williamson and LaMelo Ball do not have the best attendance. Does that mean they were worse at basketball than Christian Braun? No. No. Just you got to hang it up after these rankings. Like, I wouldn't like to speak with whoever this gentleman Holmes is. I don't know, man. Zion Williamson, one of the most efficient scorers in the league when healthy. Someone who has continued to improve his game as a ball handler, and someone who looks great this offseason. We say it every year, but he actually looks in shape, skinny, and bought in. Zion Williamson this year, in my opinion, is going to make them eat this ranking. This is one of the worst we've seen so far. And these last three have definitely taken some years off my life.
You can't. This, like, Zion Williamson is a rare, like, generational type of player. Like, he's the face of a franchise. Yeah, he's been a little disappointing in his ability to stay on the court, but every time he's been on the court, he is efficient. He shoots 60% and 25 a game. Like, what do you mean? Christian Braun could never dream of doing that.
Imagine Jokic next to Zion.
two Christian Brauns, like, inside of one, like, are not replicating what this guy can do. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like, he's one of the most athletic players in the league. He imposes a defense. You have to game plan around this guy. He just can get a bucket automatically. He's essentially
one of the most free twos, one of the most free inside the arc points you'll ever find.
And now he's shown the ability to, like, run an offense pretty damn well, working as, like, a hub, like, just, oh my gosh,
I mean,
man.
He projects to be maybe their primary ball handler at the beginning of the season with the absence of DeJounte Murray. So this guy's going to step into a huge role, and I guarantee you he's going to perform. And this is just a terrible ranking.
Dude,
and
thinking about his minutes,
who they
too.
Have to get ahead of him as well. Like,
last thing I want to say on Zion, like, this guy plays probably decently under 30 minutes a game, and he's averaging like 25 points a game. That's almost a point per minute. If we want to compare that, to Christian Braun, like, Christian Braun probably averages, like, if we're going from, like, when they're on the court basis, not looking at the full game stats, like, a minute of Zion versus a minute of Christian Braun, it's probably every single stat is double at the very least. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And dude, I want to scroll past the next one.
So we're just gonna go here and show you that, and then we're gonna keep going.
Dude,
we're just gonna keep going a little bit, and no disrespect to Austin Reeves and Suggs, who are good players, but you two, I'm sorry if you're watching this, you're not watching this, but you are not better than Zion Williamson. I'm sorry, you are not better than LaMelo Ball. If this gave you an ego boost, that's good. Maybe it's good for your confidence going into the year, but you're not better than Tyler Hero either. So, sorry about that.
Austin Reeves is just not that. I mean, he had an awesome stretch this past year where he was efficient, doing a little bit of everything, but that was a stretch, dude. That was like 10 to 20 games. Like, he is not a guy who can run an offense. Like,
the Lakers bias a little
he's
bit
a good
strong,
like sixth man candidate, I think. Like, dude,
can we just go back and let's think about the prospect profile before they hit the league of Zion Williamson and LaMelo Ball and compare it? Do we think that
was
Christian
Austin
Braun
Reeves drafted? I don't think Austin Reeves was drafted.
Yeah, he very well could have been an undrafted.
He's
player.
Another guy who came into the league. Like, Austin Reeves is like, he's going into what, like, year 4? Like, this was year 3 or so for him. He's like old, dude. He might have come into the league at like 24 years old.
He's got to be older. Yeah, that's one of the worst rankings so far. If we go back, I mean, we're not mad at Trey Murphy in the top 60. If we want to cool down a little bit, take a step back, take a
Better
deep
than
breath.
Zion? He's not the best player on his
Yeah,
team.
they're saying he's the best on the Pelicans here.
If you watch a game with these two, that's not the case. I think they're an awesome duo, and they're going to be really fun to watch together. I think they complement each other really, really well. But he's I just got to throw the past couple minutes out of my mind because I'm just going to be harping on that the whole time and be like, he's not better than that. Miles Turner is not better than that.
And if your argument is attendance, Trey Murphy missed 30 games last year, so that argument's out the window too. Miles Turner.
Overall, I think around 60 for Trey Murphy is fine if we're not talking about who he's better than.
And I'd say the same for Miles Turner as well, but again, he just should not be ahead of some of these guys. I would easily take Tyler Hero over Miles Turner, and you know what? I think there's a world I would take Jaden McDaniels too. So
that's a lot closer, but
this one, a little bit of championship bias, perhaps.
For sure, dude. For sure.
Man, Hartenstein, Knicks legend. Definitely enjoyed having him on the team. Would I have preferred him over Zion Williamson on the Knicks? No. Again, I mean, that's what we're just going to keep thinking back to now. And, I mean, it's kind of scarred in my head. Isaiah Hartenstein is not better than the generational talents of Ball, Zion Williamson, and the all-star level talents of Tyler Hero, Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan. Going to keep shouting those names out.
Dude, I mean, just think about the scoring repertoire of Isaiah Hartenstein versus LaMelo Ball, dude.
Isaiah Hartenstein, imagine him. You have a nice floater. I will give you that, but I don't know if you could go between your legs. Can you dribble between your legs like fucking LaMelo Ball?
I don't think he can do there could be he could have an open gym and he could not be doing the stuff that LaMelo is doing while double teamed and triple teamed. I mean, I like Hartenstein. He's a powerful, one of the stronger guys in the league. He played a valuable role. Was probably averaged over 10 boards on a championship team. Passing chops. I really like him as a player.
Great defense.
Yeah, I like him as a player around 70 or so.
Yeah, that's fair.
80 even. I think they were closer to being right last year.
Reigning most improved player, Dyson Daniels comes in next. Again, probably a fair range for him, but I'm thinking again, he's not better than 5 or 6 of those all-star level guys that we already discussed. But I don't want to take anything away from Daniels, who had an awesome season last year and really came into his own. Led the league in steals, and it wasn't relatively close, and was rewarded with all.
He was over 3 steals a game, so
yeah, just ridiculous. And
he almost won deep
honors as well. Yeah,
I think he was second in Defensive Player of the Year voting. So this is damn near as good as it gets for a perimeter on-ball defender. So I
room to grow offensively too.
Around 55%. Yeah, not horrible for me. Ignoring who he's above. I don't mean 55%. Around 55. Not horrible. He definitely deserves to be around 60 or so.
Moving on. I mean,
dude, that's
this is a guy
going off last year.
Simply fell off last year, and to have him over some of these young players who are still on the up and up is crazy.
Dude,
this is crazy.
He was hurt all last year too, and he's how old is Paul George? He's 35, 36.
Paul George is mid to late 30s, missed half the season
last year. Coming
off
a huge injury. Why is he 54?
And his points per game plummeted. His stats plummeted last season.
This one has no argument. This one has absolutely no argument.
I had Paul George on fantasy last year, and it was miserable. This guy sucked last year. He averaged 16 points, the level of a high-level role player.
Dude, they're rewarding the podcasts on here. That's what they're doing, bro.
They're about to throw
all these guys get the podcast bumps. We're up next. Yeah, we're up next. Jeez, man.
Alex Caruso, again, similar to Lou Dort. Again, not mad at this ranking. It makes sense. He's one of the best defensive guards in the NBA. A great season for him and another catalyst for why the Thunder had such a historic defense. Not mad at that one.
For him, though, there's Caruso was amazing, but like there's just such an offensive gap like between him and what these
Yeah,
other guys are doing. I mean, look at
I'm
that.
trying to zone out those
Look at the
60s, to be
projection.
honest.
Look at the projection.
Yeah,
He's the guy. He's gonna average under 10 points a game.
that's
Like,
what LaMelo gets in a quarter.
I
But
mean, he's awesome. I don't want
yeah,
to
Caruso's
bash on
awesome.
him at all. He did so much for this team in the playoffs. I think he is right around this top 60 or so. But dude, you gotta reorder this a little bit. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
there's
again,
stars, there's superstars, and I know it's gonna get uglier inside of this, so it's not necessarily a bad ranking for him. But I don't know, man.
yeah, it's rough. And then
But
when
he
you
was
add
awesome. He was
add the
super
fact
awesome.
that someone who hasn't played a game yet in the NBA is also above some of these other guys. I mean, I get it.
This is
I
like
get
the
the flag hype.
ceiling for like what he could be this like no, not the ceiling for what he could be this year, but I think it's like if he's a top 50 player immediately, it's like okay, the Mavs are going to be like that's what you wanted to get out of him. They're going to be pretty dangerous. But
Yeah.
like I don't know, man.
No, this is very generous, and I mean he's 18 years old, so that's kind of my hesitation there. Is he really ready to hop right in and meet these projections that they have for him? These lofty 26 and 4 assists. It's a lot to ask for, and I could see this more come to fruition in the second half of the season, especially maybe when Kyrie rejoins the team, and it kind of makes it a little bit easier on Flag. Doesn't have to create as much for himself. And I still think Flag's going to be awesome. But
If
you
you want
can't
to
have him
throw him
over some
some
of these established
yeah,
guys.
if you want to throw him some props, like just include him in the list, you know, like put him at 80 or maybe 75, you know, be like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this dude's generational. He's going to be up next. But like, how often do we see a rookie just immediately like do this? Like, I can think of like Luca, um, was, I mean, Wemby probably,
What,
but
just step in and average 20? Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it doesn't happen too often, especially for an 18-year-old.
who's
Of course,
entering a team that has a superstar on it.
yeah, this is a lot to ask. We'll see if he can meet that. And this
Still
is
shout out though.
yeah, shout out to him. But this is one I
Gross.
definitely shaking
Gross.
your head here. I'm shaking my head. Draymond Green will end off the first portion of this list. Someone who is, I guess, still a top 100 player because of his defense, but man, this guy has some ugly moments offensively. He has some ugly moments with his temper, and I think all of this should definitely drop him down, especially considering that he is in his late 30s at this point. I mean, Draymond Green in his late 30s is not too much to get excited about. Not a
Wasn't
top 50
he
player.
was suspended like a good chunk of last year for the Nurkic thing. He does deserve a little bump for like, punching Nurkic in the face.
Yeah, that was awesome.
But
That was a
like,
good deed.
I mean,
He
dude,
does pick his
like
fights well.
he's an awesome defender. You know, he has kept the Warriors' defense afloat and kept them like you know one of the better units in the league, and he is a competitor, as we mentioned, for better or for worse, and also just an awesome pairing with Steph Curry and like the way that they've been able to grow together, the way that Curry can move off of him and that he can get the ball to Curry with those top of the arc picks and stuff. But
Yeah,
I mean
some of the best chemistry
yeah
between teammates.
that can only be so valuable. Like I don't know, man. In my opinion, they should just blow up that pumpkin pie spice ad a little bit and try to hide this.
Yeah, I will give them this. Draymond is a pretty tough player to rank overall.
He is,
but,
yeah, he is hard to rank. Like
but
I
this
wouldn't,
is not the spot for him.
I wouldn't be mad with him or in like last year they had him 66. Did he get that much better this year? Like what's with the jump?
Did he improve? He improved
yeah.
that much.
Like
He's on the up and up in his late 30s.
yeah, just keep him there. He's
So
66 is pretty perfect for him.
So that does it for the first half of the list. Let's take a deep breath, and we'll get ready for this second half. I'll get this booted up here.
I mean,
okay.
Based on the trends and just based off some of the guys who haven't been named in my mind, there's going to be some pretty bad.
Again, I mean, we can now say Herb Jones did not make this list.
Yeah.
Herb Jones is one of the best defenders in the league without a doubt, and is growing on the offensive end. That's an inexcusable miss from them.
Did CJ McCollum make this list? I think
CJ McCollum missed this list.
I think he should be there versus some of the guys.
Yeah, definitely. At least in like the 80s. I mean, you had like Tobias Harris on the list. I would still comfortably take McCollum over him.
I mean, I guess I get them not putting Simons on the list a little bit, but there are definitely some dudes who
he could definitely be on there.
I'm trying to think who else wouldn't be there. I mean, I don't love like Josh Giddey as a player, but I think what he did last year deserves a spot on the list.
Yeah, I mean, he was 17, 7-7, something like that.
Averaged like a triple-double the past like couple months of the season.
Yeah, he's damn good. Definitely top 100. Definitely better than Jonas Valanciunas, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, what was up with the Valanciunas respect?
Top 90? Top 90 is crazy for that. I'm almost over that. But if we want to start diving into this top 50 here, starts off with
I don't
Celtics
get it. Like, are they concerned about injuries or not? Like,
yeah, with this ranking, it's tough to say. I mean, this is a guy who is as alarming as any in the injury department. Hell, is this guy over his illness? Right? Like, what was even going on with that? So we'll see there.
I love Porzingis' game when he's healthy. When he's healthy, he is this. But I mean, you can't. Like, he's as inconsistent health-wise as a Zion, as a LaMelo, you know? It's like, you got to
worse when healthy than
those
two.
Yeah, like, you got to be... And I'm sky high on Porzingis as a healthy, good player. I think he does really all the things that you want from a big, or, like, and more, you know, all the things you can really ask for from a big. He's an elite stretch shooter. He has an awesome post game. He can be a good rim protector. I mean, he is exactly what you want in a modern big, but I mean, this, like, it's just the consistency, you know? Like, if you're going to ding guys for being injured and you're going to have Porzingis and Paul George still as, you know, borderline top 50 guys.
Yeah, these lists should really all be about establishing a pattern, right? And showing whoever the creator is what they value. And if they value attendance, then yeah, you can bump some of these guys down. But like you said, you just got to be consistent. Kristaps Porzingis, LaMelo Ball, and Zion Williamson all have attendance issues. However, when they're on the court, the latter two are far better than Kristaps Porzingis on an average night of production. So I don't agree with this. It's a fine ranking overall for Porzingis. He's a top 50 player. But again, just be consistent. Those other guys are better than Porzingis when healthy, and they should be reflected so.
Like, take this guy below him out and plug in some of those other guys, you know?
Yeah, this one I'm just going to skip over. We're going to go here to... Okay, shout out to Mikal, making the top 50.
Dude, it's like...
but here's the argument for Mikal. He will never miss a game. So that is a decent way to look at it, I guess, from that point of view. And
there's definitely quite the contrast here between these two guys.
And these two, this is an interesting too. An MVP candidate when he's on the court, but he barely plays, or a very high level role player who plays every game. What would you rather have? I guess that's a fair question, right? But I mean, Joel Embiid's one of the biggest kind of question marks for this upcoming season. We've heard some interesting rumors coming out of Sixers camp that he may not be ready yet, but we've seen some film of him on the court, taking shots, moving around decently well. Embiid is a guy I'm definitely scared of for like fantasy purposes because you just don't know what you're going to get out of this guy this year. But if he's healthy, we definitely know what he's capable of. And if he's healthy, he's going to make a fool out of this ranking. But that's a colossal if.
He's one of the hardest guys to rank. Wherever you put him, you can make an argument against. So you just got to throw him on the list, I guess. It doesn't really matter where, and you could really understand him. You could understand him being in the top 10. You could understand him being at 100. So
and that's kind of exactly what they said here.
Yeah,
it's almost impossible to rank Embiid after he played just 19 games last season.
Damn.
But if he's back and healthy, he's obviously top 10 caliber. So I agree with that take. Jamal Murray coming in next. The second option to a team with championship aspirations.
Feels a little low to me.
Yeah, definitely a little bit low. And Murray just had his best ever regular season last year. Averaged just a little bit north of 21 a game, I believe, and around 6 assists. And I expect that again.
I mean, I guess he hasn't quite matched. Dude, scroll up.
Sorry.
That
was scary.
That's a jump scare below, and we'll get to that. But, I mean, I don't know. Like, he wasn't necessarily quite the breakthrough star that they needed him to be in the playoffs, like he was when they won the championship, obviously. But he was still good in the playoffs, and I think you can kind of forgive him for not playing the absolute best against a historic hounding defense in the Thunder, and I think he was always going to struggle in that matchup. But especially like the second half of the regular season he put out, and like just if you think of like his role and like the overall like story of the league right now, like he's a very good second option on one of the best teams in the league. And yeah, he plays alongside one of the best players, but he's a big part of that too. I mean, he's turned into a very capable off-ball guy. We all know that he's capable of, making people look silly off the dribble. I think Murray deserves more respect than this, being probably closer to like a top 30 guy or so.
Yeah, and I kind of think of back to the beginning of last season when there was a lot of panic around Murray. He had the well-documented kind of abysmal efficiency throughout the playoffs for Canada, or throughout the Olympics for Canada, and then came into the season, and he had a very slow start too. Throughout kind of his first 15 to 20 games, we kind of saw that similar efficiency dip. But in the second half of the year, and like you said, he really turned it around and came into his own. And that even continued into the playoffs, at least in the first round. He had some awesome moments against the Clippers and was a big reason that they were able to pull out of that series. So yeah, I think this is a little bit low for Murray, and is someone who could definitely push for the top 35, top 30.
By the way, on Jamal Murray, 6 assists this past year.
Yeah.
Really, really underrated part of his game. Yeah, I mean, just can't emphasize enough, a huge part of what looked to be kind of the second best team in the league this past season when you think about how they pushed OKC.
Yeah, they gave him the biggest fight, for sure. Moving down. Yeah, not the prettiest ranking here.
This is horrible. This is horrible, man. This is another one that I think is one of the worst. And I mean, Jared Allen's a good player for sure, but I think this is just way, way too high, man, for a guy who is, I mean, I wouldn't say quite role player because he's an awesome starting center. He does obviously what you want. He's a rim runner, He's not a guy who can ever do anything with the ball in his hands. And also, if we're going based off of like we're shooting all these guys up because they were on the Thunder and they played awesome in the playoffs, like, dude, he, like, for a guy who really should not have like postseason struggles, he has been horrible in the postseason. Like, he's turned completely like incapable of being a useful player at all, like in the postseason. Like he was a big reason why they lost.
Yeah. And one thing I will give him, has developed a nice two-man game with Evan Mobley. They do throw a lot of little lobs to each other, like off the block, which I think is a pretty cool development in their game. And I like Jared Allen as a player as well. I like the Cavs team a lot.
He
But
was
yeah,
he was good in the regular season for sure.
I'd probably have him more around 60 to 65.
He also, I will say, like during the regular season, I was really impressed with his just overall efficiency and ability to like really master the short game. Like he, not range, but he's pretty good on those like kind of touch shots.
No, Jared Allen has touch.
He's
to
yeah.
me this ranking, like, it's bad, but it's not egregious. Like, I put him at like 60, 65 and say he's like a borderline starting level big.
Yeah. I don't get really the bump up. I mean, maybe it's because they had such a good regular season, but it's just crazy. Like when you think about like they consciously decided that he's that good, and I just don't get what, like, that confuses me. Where's that coming from? Like, what's your infatuation with this guy?
Yeah, especially after the most recent sample of him was those playoff games. But moving on here, we do have Jalen Johnson, someone who is well deserved to be in this list, and maybe this is a tad bit high, but I totally get it. I totally get it because of what he did flash in his healthy games last season. This is someone who could legitimately be in like 20 and 10, walking double-double with also like 5 assists a game.
He pretty much was that last year.
Yeah,
almost.
And that's pretty much what he does, yeah.
It's only half a season, though, if even. So
someone who should continue to be a great beneficiary of playing with one of the best playmakers in the league, an elite lob threat, and should be a rock-solid second option for a team looking to contend out of the East this year. I'm fine with this for Jalen Johnson.
I think if he stayed healthy through the year, this would look a lot better. But yeah, only 36 games played last year. But yeah, I think he's awesome, and I love the pairing with Trae Young. That's going to be a really fun team to watch this year.
Yeah, without a doubt. Moving down here, a couple ugly ones here, if I do say so. Lauri Markkanen, I mean, I don't really get the appeal of having Markkanen this high, especially with how abysmal his team was last season.
He had an off year for sure.
Yeah, and exactly. He himself was definitely down as well.
He was not hitting the three the same way that he has in years past. I think I still believe in Markkanen to play around this level, maybe a couple spots back.
Yeah, he's like a borderline top 50, I suppose.
Yeah.
I definitely thought he would have been more of a catalyst to get traded, but it seems like him getting re-signed has kind of put a pin in that.
I think he actually wasn't allowed to be traded last year because of the contract or something, but this year I think he might be able to. He kind of just feels like a Jazz guy, though. They might just like him. But yeah, if he got moved, he'd be a really interesting piece. Super, just a rare skill set on this guy as a guy who can be a sharpshooter, a guy who is 7 feet tall. You know, he can finish a little bit too. So
good offensive player.
Yeah, he can move around. He's a cool player. I like Lauri personally, so I'm not as mad at this.
Yeah, not mad. This one I'm a little bit mad at. But I do understand it, I guess, because he did have a positive playoffs. Mm-hmm. I'm just never going to be very high on this guy. Ultimately, I think there are a lot of guys that we already named that I would take over Julius Randle, all things considered.
It's just not a very clean skill set, and it's not a. We're looking at all these guys who are so high because they fit so well on teams. He's not really one of those guys who can adapt that well to different types of basketball. He's has an ugly play style. He is a little bit of a ball hog at times, and just is very hit or miss, and when he's missing, it's hideous. It's
It's some
hard
of the
to
worst
see.
basketball in the
But
league, and that's what I saw a lot of when he was with the Knicks, and they even have the stat down here. What did he give me in the playoffs for my team? About 17 a game, shooting 34%. So we could see the lows with Julius Randle, and the lows are low.
But he did have some high highs, to be fair, and to give one of my lesser one of my least favorite players in the league. I do have to give him credit, especially in that one game they did win against the Thunder. You could just see that sometimes the guy's just on it, and he's just hitting his shots, which is awesome. But I don't
when Randall's in the
think
zone,
consistency.
He's pretty dangerous when he can get into his zone.
In the zone, he's the top 30 player, but
we saw that pretty much throughout the entirety of the Lakers series. It seemed like we kind of got that version of Randall. So, like we touched on this in previous videos, we'll see if he can build off it. If he can, I will be a lot more bullish on the Timberwolves moving forward, but I just got to see it first. Now, moving on here, Knicks legend, shout out to OG, definitely well deserving to be on this list as one of the premier two-way players in this league. I'm very happy to be running it back with him, and I'm excited to see what Mike Brown can get out of OG this year. Just hoping he can continue to stay healthy. He had one of his most healthy seasons last year, and just hoping he can continue to build on that as he played 74 games last season. Shout out to OG, 18 a game as well.
Yeah, he's a simple one here, one of the best kind of role players in the league. You know, he's up there for the best, and he's not a role player for being serious. You know, he's just straight up probably top 5 defender in the league, and he has a very clean offensive game now. So
let's say
no problem with this.
Aaron Gordon, this seems a little bit high for.
That feels pretty high. I mean, that might be I'm sure they're
playoff
talking build.
Yeah. The playoff, Of course, he had some huge moments throughout the playoffs. The game-winning dunk against the Clippers, that was insane, and then the go-ahead 3 against the Thunder.
He, I mean, if he can continue to do what he did in the playoffs, this could look a little bit better. But I mean, I don't know if I necessarily have the most confidence in that. But I mean, to be fair, it was actually kind of all year last year. He was a very good 3-point shooter. I think he was like, is that a playoff number? Or is that the real full season that he was 44% from 3? I think he was close to that for the full year.
Yeah,
so
if that was for the year, that's phenomenal. And
yeah.
Guys, I also apologize if you see me over here coughing in the corner. Just got a little cold going on here, but trying to power through it here. But yeah, going back to Gordon, huge moments in the playoffs, and someone who should continue to be a huge factor on both ends of the court for Denver going forward. So I do get it, but again, no bias. I mean, I'm definitely not taking him over OG. I think that's a pretty big stretch there.
And he might have had moments and times where he was better than Murray, but is he more important to this team than Murray? I would say definitely not.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah,
Murray's
I would definitely take.
Yeah, Murray's like
Jamal
9
Murray,
spots behind him.
Who they have up here? So yeah, Murray is the second best player on Denver. He's got to be. Moving down to the newest addition for the Orlando Magic with Des Bane. This is a fine ranking for Des Bane, someone who I consider, like pretty much the highest level role player to like a borderline star of a lights out shooter who has continued to add more to his game every year. Underratedly, he's a pretty strong playmaker, especially in Ja's absence. He averaged around 5 to 6 assists a game, and his in between the game has gotten a lot stronger too. He has a very strong like pull up midi now, and he can attack the rim. I like Des Bane's game a lot, and I think he'll bring a lot to the Magic this year.
I like him, but I don't like him this much. I don't think he would. I don't think he's really like a 39. Like him in the 30s.
Like for me, the thing is,
it's hard for me to phase out just some of the guys that are behind him, and at this point, there can't be too many like absolutely egregious guys ahead of him.
I would think about it, I guess, from this point of view. Desmond Bane, I just gave him flowers. I think he's a great player. he is not 35 spots ahead of Zach LaVine. I mean, when
Yeah,
you think about their skill sets, like these
pretty
are
similar.
quite similar players.
He's like
So
a winning version of Zach LaVine, I would say, but
with a little bit less
also
bounce.
yeah, a little less bounce and probably yeah, just like a little less scoring chops overall.
Yeah,
Like,
I'd say so.
but I mean, he does do a little bit more on defense, and he does have that kind of passing feel that has gone a long way.
Definitely. Moving on here to another Cav. Well deserved for DG the PG. Um, Hopefully he won't be missing too much of this season, but I believe he's going to be sidelined for the first 3 to 4 weeks. I think they're
Oh, really?
projecting. Yeah,
I didn't know
he did
that.
have some off-season surgery, and I believe it was on his foot, which also led him to miss some time in the playoffs as well. But when he's on the court, he's a very electric, dynamic guard, and one of the best point guards in the league for sure. An elite playmaker, some of the best handles in the league, elite shot creation ability, and just someone who keeps the Cavs offense moving as a well-oiled engine.
I would have him for sure higher than 38. I mean, what he
Yeah,
did this
I wonder if
past
they're
year was,
factoring in that injury, but
I mean, I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, he's
it's
so good.
just, he was so good this past year. He was so efficient. He was just, running this offense like a fine oiled machine. I mean, he just poses so much stress and difficulty on the defense with his speed. I love the way he can just leverage his shift and his speed overall. Like, really, once he uses that to get by you too, there's a lot that he can get to in terms of he has an awesome float game. He has a nice ability to play make, like we mentioned, and pretty decent layup package too, I'd say. And he also just has the ability to throw it up to one of his two awesome big men for a lob. I mean, he puts a lot of stress on the defense in a very efficient and just a very productive way. And I think for a team that won 60 games last year, key part of that, I would have him higher.
I'd have him higher too. And
Especially with
kind of building off what you said, two guys that come to mind for that kind of skill you mentioned, like it's so valuable if you're an undersized guard. One, you got to have the float game, but to be able to recognize when you shoot the floater and when you kind of fake it is a floater and you throw it right into a lob. I'd say him and Trae Young are just absolutely elite at that. And they rarely make the wrong decision in those instances.
Like they give Jared Allen so much respect for, I assume, for being part of historic regular season Cavs team. Like give DG his respect too, man.
Most definitely. One of the best guards in the league. Another rising star here.
It's an interesting
Amen
one.
Thompson.
He could be in a lot of places. I think this is pretty good for him, though.
This is a pretty good spot for Thompson, and I think again,
It's a little bit of a projection.
Yeah, exactly. They're baking in a little bit of a leap for Thompson, which I think is fair, especially with Van Vliet going down. I mean, they're going to be asking a lot out of Thompson, maybe in the playmaking department as well. So, a guy who should be a core piece of a team looking to contend out of the West and should only continue to get better. Probably the best athlete in the league right now and one of the marquee defenders. Let's see if he can build on that offensive end of the court as he already did last year, and he should be flying up these rankings.
I would say the area where I give these lists the most credit is just in giving a lot of value to overall like impact that doesn't necessarily show up on the stat sheet. They're very kind to guys like Caruso, to Draymond, and
Ludor.
like Amen is just one of these guys who once he elevated into a bigger role, like you just saw like how special this guy is and like just like how serious of a effect that he has on the overall game. I mean, he can do so many different things to have his fingerprints on, the outcomes of games. Like he was a point guard prospect. I mean, he's a little more of like a point forward at this point, but I mean, he still has that point guard ability in terms of, his playmaking. But dude, the guy averaged like eight or so rebounds this year. Like he's a rare athlete, and just like one of those athletes that when he moves, like you can tell that this guy is going to be a star. And it was really fun just to watch him develop throughout the year, gain more of that offensive game, being able to score a little more off the dribble while just having insane defensive impact. He's one of the, I would say he's right there with OG for, best and most scary, impactful perimeter defenders in the league. Him, OG, Tamani.
Yeah. I kind of think of that game he had in Boston, kind of like his breakthrough moment for a man last year. I believe he strung together about a 34-point game.
He was
and
awesome,
he had the
man.
game-winning floater in that game as well. And he just looked very confident on the offensive end, and I think that will continue to grow. I like this stat here a lot.
So much burst, man.
Honestly, a very cool stat. First Rockets player with 80 steals and 80 blocks since Hakeem. That's really saying something.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's so unique, man. Like he is. Jason Tatum's obviously the anomaly, but this guy is an anomaly in terms of just what he does. I don't know if I've really ever seen a player like Amen Thompson before. He's
very unique.
So unique, man. It's awesome. He has a really cool skill set, and I'm super excited to see what that develops into, because he has a lot more left in the tank.
And they're showing a lot of love here, as they should, to Big Zoo. I think this is an awesome ranking for Zoo.
Yeah. Not going to complain about this.
Absolute double-double machine, one of the best defenders in the league, and anchored down the Clippers' defense, and an absolute massive catalyst for them having the success they did last year in a season that was pretty messy from some of their other guys. But, yeah, good ranking for Zoo. Don't have too much to say there.
If you're going to have a like traditional big man in like that kind of Jared Allen mold in this range, like these are the numbers that you have to back it up. In my opinion, he's like pretty much 17 and 13 last year with amazing presence in the paint. He's one of the strongest guys in the league. We saw he even gave Jokic problems in the paint. Like insanely strong guy, just has an awesome feel on defense, has touch on offense. Like him and James Harden is just a really dream
match
pairing. Yeah. And I mean, he's just ideal big, he's not like a super revolutionary innovative player, but he is, when you say everything you want from a big man, he is actually just that. And for his size, he's surprisingly like very mobile, like able to cover so much on defense. And yeah, just says he's one of the best offensive rebounders in the league. You definitely feel that. He's just, he would suck to play against.
Stat. 60% in 6 straight seasons.
And it's not just like, little like right at the rim, like dunks and stuff. Like his 17 a game is not the same shot diet as a Rudy Gobert. He can, do it from, multiple feet out. He's,
Zoo will get a post up and a clear out, like that. That's not really something that you can entrust to a Rudy Gobert. He has good touch and one of the best hooks in the league. Probably one of the only guys that consistently has the hook shot in his shot diet still. But yeah, really, really elite big man, and I'm glad they gave him some love here. Moving on, we do have D Fox of the San Antonio Spurs. De'Aaron Fox, I believe, is also projected to miss a little bit of time at the beginning of this season. I forget what his injury was, but yeah, we'll see if maybe Stephon Castle can step in and fill that void to begin the year, as well as, of course, Dylan Harper. But I'm not mad at this ranking for Fox. All-star level point guard, who should be the second option on a very dangerous team going forward. he just got paid, so we'll see if he can back it up this season.
Yeah, I think this is a great spot for Fox right now. But if he is able to, provide a lot more value to a team that really just you're looking to take some attention away from Wembanyama and open that up for him, I think that he could even rise a little bit just given his circumstances.
Yeah, most definitely. Moving on here, we do have Domas.
You just kind of have to do it.
Yeah, he's a guy you got to throw in here as a stat sheet stuffer and definitely an offensive engine for the Kings.
Probably some Kings fans that'll be pretty pissed off by this one.
Yeah, this one could seem low to some people, I'm sure.
They don't like the Kings at all.
I think this is a pretty fine spot considering the dips he's had in the playoffs, the questions he has defensively, and some of his offensive shortcomings, mainly pertaining to his outside the arc shot. And I do want to say last year, I believe he was a little bit more efficient there, but
looking at 41 from 3.
But
only two attempts per game, but
yeah, we'll see if that volume can get up a little bit, because if he can be a legitimate floor spacer, that would be massive for his game.
Yeah, and this is now that there's no Fox, this is like really his team, so it's kind of cool to see him just fully operate as this center for everything and this hub. So it's a stat sheet stuffer, and it's a rare thing to see. So very unique player. You got to give it a little bit of respect. So
yeah, and I know we mentioned this before. A little bit upset that Zach LaVine didn't end up in Denver. This is the next best thing, I guess, right? He gets to play with similar type of center and kind of showcase the off the ball skills around someone like Domas.
Yeah, they have a pretty solid infrastructure there for him, for guys who can space it out. Hopefully Keegan Murray gets back to what he shown he has the potential to be. It might have been a little while ago at this point, but him, Monk, I think that balances out the DeRozan's inability to necessarily help there. So
yeah, going down here, yeah, this one seems a little bit low to me, especially projecting that he will be more of the second half of the season Ja Morant that we saw last year.
Second quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
Or fourth quarter.
Ja, we know what Ja is. He's a freak athlete, superstar, borderline type of point guard who he's had some very rough moments these past few seasons where I'm sure if we look at this list 3 years ago, they probably had him top 15. But between the off the court stuff and some injuries and drama with Taylor Jenkins, he finds himself down here at 33. I do think that this will be kind of a bounce back season for him. And I know Trumas Isalo, people are pretty high on him as a coach. And I think he'll be able to spread the wealth around.
Nice pronunciation, bro. Pronunciation.
We did see that Ja's stats took a jump to more kind of what we were used to seeing out of Ja Morant, hovering around 27 a game after the departure of Taylor Jenkins. So, we'll see if he can continue that for the entirety of the season. And if he can, I'm sure he'll get back to that top 20 range.
Yeah. I mean, you see the projections. They're projecting him to get right back to kind of peak Ja, whereas he was 4 whole points lower last year in terms of average, which I think it really did shine some light on kind of uglier parts of Ja's game, and that has to be why he's fallen a good bit here. Really cannot provide much of anything off the ball at all, but he's going to run a fun offense. He's an awesome player to watch. He's another one of these just speedy guys, like a Garland, like a Fox, who can put so much pressure on the defense. And he has, a pretty perfect partner for that. So really hope they're able to tap into the best of the both worlds in those two guys, and him and Jaren.
Too. And I do like that we haven't seen Jaren yet, which
he's certainly deserved that.
Moving on, we do have Franz Wagner. I guess this is a fair spot for Franz, who's coming off a season averaging around 24 a game. Again, I mean, it's kind of tough projecting what this Magic team's going to do this year as far as like their ceiling, but we do project them to kind of be a top 4 to 5 team in the East with their new big three, and Wagner should be a catalyst there. I'm not sure if he's going to get to 24 points a game again with Desmond Bane coming into town, but Wagner is kind of has a big guard type of play style. I mean, he's good on the ball. He has a soft touch. He can make plays. Just need to see kind of that 3-point shot return to what it had been in the past, and Wagner could definitely live up to this ranking.
Yeah, it might be a little bit high, in my opinion, because as we're
I don't
getting
think
kind
he's
of
better than Ja.
yeah, as we're getting to kind of these lower numbers, each one is more significant. I'm not saying it's like super high, like he needs to be way back in like the 40s or 50s, but like probably back 30s, I would feel a little more comfortable with him, just
Me
because
too.
that 3-point limitation is so real, man. Like
It was bad last year.
it's been multiple years now that he has been under 30 from three, and that is just going to hamper an offense so much. And we've seen he's a big part of why this is one of the worst 3-point shooting modern teams we've seen. So
This is actually an insane stat. Franz Wagner ranks last in effective field goal percentage on jumpers with 700 plus attempts over the last 2 years.
like
Gotta get better.
as awesome as you can be as, just this 6'10" wing who can handle the ball, can get down inside, he's, plays well through contact overall. He's, a tough player, and you can tell that he sees the game very well, but I don't know how it's weird to project this team, and they're gonna need it straight up. They're gonna need him to be a lot better of a shooter for them to take that step that they're hoping to. Him and Paolo.
Yeah, you need some spacing. It can't just be Des Bane. So here's Jaren, about 2 spots ahead of Ja. I think that's a fine ranking.
He played better
Jaren,
than this last year, to be fair.
yeah, Jaren was a top 25 guy in last season for sure. One of the best defenders in the league, and definitely took leaps and bounds on the offensive end, at least with some increased volume there. This is a stat that I actually did touch on in a previous video, but Jaren's per 36 numbers are insane. About 27 a game per 36 last year. I think he only hovered around 30 minutes a game last season, but I would like to see if he can bump that up a little bit more this year. It would come with a little bit more responsibility of him staying out of foul trouble. I know that's something that he's had some issues with in the past, but easily one of the best two-way players in the league, and he's a borderline superstar to me.
Yeah, I mean, this ranking is almost like if you just kind of factored in like one side of the ball for him. Um, just given the fact that he's such a two-way star, I think he should probably be close to the top 25. I mean,
Yeah,
took such an awesome step as a scorer last year. I think he's one of those guys who is one of the best suited in the league to take advantage of mismatches, given his just rare ability to kind of work in the paint and, take all these kind of shots with his tremendous length. And then you tack on top of the fact that he has a pretty awesome, pretty efficient three, even though it might look a little ugly. Jaren, whenever he shoots the three, just because his shot looks so weird, I just like always kind of think that it's like not going in. Like it looks like a bad shot, but it falls, man. He's a good shooter for sure.
I'm all for a funky jumper.
Yeah, super funky jumper, but it works. It's awesome. Yeah, and I would love to see him kind of rise his game a bit more on the offensive end, like in the playoffs and in these tougher matchups. And maybe that comes with being, a little more selective with those shots, like he probably will have to be this year. And maybe he'll be able to, get those created a little bit more for him. But he's an awesome player. He took a big step on offense this past year, and on defense, he's one of the best in the league. There's no doubt about that. Would love to see him get his rebounding up. I think that's his only hole in his game.
Yeah, definitely. moving on here. This is a little bit high to me.
I hate this. I
Yeah,
hate this.
I think there are a lot of guys we just went over that are better than Scotty Barnes right now. Scotty Barnes has kind of an all-around game where he's a good rebounder, good defender. He can play make. Little bit of kind of rawness on the scoring side, but he'll still put up points. But I don't know. This is a pretty ugly ranking, especially with how the Raptors season panned out last year. I don't know how you can say this guy's better than Jaren. I really don't.
Dude, that's insane. That's insane to me. Like, best case scenario, I think he'll turn into a Jaren. I mean, he's still young. I don't want to
He's a young star.
completely bash him, but I mean, we have seen young stars in his draft class, take that jump already, like a Mobley and a Cade, who are going to be coming up a little bit later. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I really understand the complete vision for Scotty, to be honest. I know a lot of people are sold on it, but like when I watch this guy, I just really don't I don't know if I buy in. I mean, I see that he's a rare athlete, but like, dude, he is so bad at shooting. He is one of like the grossest jump shooters like I have seen, and like he takes those shots, man. He gets a lot of volume. Like,
he does.
It looks really ugly when like you actually turn the game film on for this guy. So, hopefully he doesn't have such a maybe he can get better in like in a smaller role this year on offense, if that makes sense a little bit, not chucking up all these shots with Brandon Ingram coming in. But does that mean he's going to grow? Like, he has been in like the Raptors' whole thing since he's entered the league has been for him to grow, and he's been in a position where he should grow. Whereas like you look at Mobley, who hasn't necessarily been in a situation like that, and he's sprouted into this awesome player. You look at Cade, who's been in one of the ugliest situations possible, spacing wise, and he's turned into a superstar. It's like, I mean, I don't want to just compare him to those guys because those guys are awesome, but I think Scotty has it's hard for me to really consider him as much more than still a potential guy. And yeah, he has a lot of potential, but when you're talking about him as the 30th best player in the league, I want more than a guy who's just like a moldable ball of clay right now. Like, you can't put a guy in the top 30 based on potential.
Yeah,
I think that's crazy. And what Scotty has put on the court has not been close to that. It really hasn't. And honestly, he's a good defender because he's such a good athlete. But do I think he really has the cognitive abilities of a star defender yet? No, not really at all. So I don't know, man. I don't want to be bashing him too much because, yeah, he does have a crazy amount of potential. This could look pretty bad if he does fully flesh out and have like like a Giannis trajectory or something. But like that's like it's like damn near what it's gonna take. It's like I don't know. It's seems like a huge reach to have him in these conversations. Like,
I'd say he's more just like, I think he's top 40, I guess. Like, I'd put him probably more around the 40 range. But
I'd have him in the 40s. I would have him in the 40s. I think.
Like, just thinking back to who we saw over there, I don't know if would take him over my boy OG. Like,
OG, not right now. Definitely not right now. Dude, yeah. Scotty, like, you could argue that, like, he's... I mean, and this is kind of the role that they've wanted him to be on, but has he been really, that much of a positive? Like, especially on the offensive end? Well, I don't think he's been, like, that much of a positive offensive player, and it's, like... I don't see like superstar defensive impact from him either. And he gets all the opportunity in the world.
My thought process here is kind of if you're
He's
looking at the Raptors this year, there's a world where all of Emmanuel Quickly, RJ Barrett, and Brandon Ingram outscore him. And he could be like the fourth option as far as scoring the ball on this team. Now, he is a capable playmaker, like we said, and someone who can run the transition game and definitely still be a big part of this team. But I could see him fall down that pecking order as far as offensive options go this year. So we'll
dude.
see.
I don't. I hate his offensive game if it's not
Yeah,
obvious. Like,
it's not pretty. It's a stiff kind of not too much touch, banking a lot on his size and athleticism, and not really too much skill to fall back on at the moment.
I mean, he's had all the opportunity to develop some skill, and really, it hasn't. I don't think I think the big thing with me is like he's had all this opportunity to develop, and maybe the numbers, if you looked at him, would suggest that he's getting better. But when you look at like his craft, I don't really know how much development I've actually seen in terms of actual skill building.
Yeah, his physical game
to get to this point, it's
his
still
game has not shown much improvement.
It's like the jump shot has the jump shot improved at all? Like,
well, he had that one enticing season of where he was like 35 from three, but it's come way back down to sub 30s again.
So
it's a little bit of a tease.
Like I said before, like when you're at this point where we're getting into the 30s, like each ranking is more consequential because you're talking about really good guys and there's just less space at this point. Like I think 30 is pretty bad, man.
I did take a peek at who's next, and I think this is probably one of my three worst rankings I've seen so far. They have Trae Young coming in here at 29. And Trae Young is no stranger to being disrespected by the media, being disrespected by analysts, anything like that. But I'm still going to be here and try to put an end to that. Trae Young, to me, is without a doubt a top 20 player in this league because of what he brings on the offensive end of the court. And I mean, I'm excited to see this Hawks team this year so much because I really want Trae Young to prove some people wrong. He has such an awesome supporting cast there now, so I really do think the Hawks will take off this year. Trae Young is, to me, a top 2 or 3 playmaker in the league, one of the best scorers in the league, and can struggle with efficiency at times. But I think that the good definitely outweighs the bad with Young, and I think he should definitely be higher than 29.
I think we'll have the opportunity to definitely prove that wrong this year. I mean he should be higher than 33. I'd say this is probably baked into him being one of the weakest defenders in the league. Yeah. Is probably what they're drawing back on, and they're probably saying, they haven't seen it connect to overall winning in quite some time. But yeah, I definitely would have him as like definitely a top 25 player. Just when it, I think the ability to play make is just so valuable, and it like he's one of the best facilitators of an offense that the league has really ever seen. So he's a divisive player. He's going to be always one of the worst defensive players in the league. He's had some pretty brutal inefficiencies on offense, but he also has to do a lot of heavy lifting on just a team that has not provided really any help offensively, especially from like a creation standpoint. He is really generates this team's whole trajectory, and they were a play-in team last year, so he single-handedly willed a team pretty far. So like if you're comparing where this guy's at versus where Scotty Barnes at, like there's miles between these players. Like
these guys. Yeah, I agree.
Like Scotty has probably more help as the lead guy. Like if you gave Trae, I think Toronto last year, just swap these guys, like I think the Hawks are one of the worst teams in the league, and Toronto is probably pushing more into that playoff conversation. They would have been playoff team for sure. And it's like,
yeah,
it's sparked solely because Trae Young can be an offensive engine so well. So
we'll move on
it's
here as well. Man, I do not agree with having Mad Max over Trae Young.
definitely not
I
after last year, man.
Yeah, and I'm a big Maxi guy too. But yeah, I think he has a little bit more development to do before we can comfortably say that. Maxi's still a very fun player and someone who led the Sixers last year in that disappointing season. But yeah, we'll see if the supposed additions, if they're healthy, of Joel Embiid and Paul George, for at least more of a consistency standpoint, can help him get back to where he was efficiency-wise. But yeah, I still like Tyrese Maxey as a player. I just think that Trae Young's getting a little bit disrespected here.
Yeah.
So,
We talked about Maxi in the last episode. He had a down year. Definitely has some things that he needs to develop as an on-ball guy. So I mean, he's was an awesome compliment to what Embiid was, but when Embiid wasn't producing at an MVP level for him to play off of, we saw his game falter a little bit. So to be a top 30 guy, I think you got to be a little more self-sufficient than this. No offense to Maxi.
yeah, definitely. And moving down here, man, a little bit of disrespect, it seems, to my guy Cat here. Cat was so phenomenal for us last season. Just really opened up our offense in a multitude of ways, led the league in rebounds, and will just continue to be the versatile offensive monster that he has been. To me, Towns is a lot closer to a top 20 type of guy, I'd say, than like the late 20s. And I feel like this last season with New York is the best season he's ever had. And this is someone who's been comfortably ranked, at least in previous lists that I've seen, as a top 20 guy. So just wondering really what changed there and why he might not be in their top 25. But I mean, looks like they had him at 30 last year, but I feel like before that, Cat was definitely a shoe-in for a top 20 guy. So a little bit of disrespect to Cat there, but it's cool. We'll hit the court in a couple weeks.
Yeah, it's just the defense for Cat. That's why he's here. He's obviously an awesome offensive player and rare, but would like to just see a little more spine from him on the other end.
Moving down here, we do have one of your boys, Mr. D. White. Listen, man, I do love Derek White. He's an awesome two-way player, but I feel like in this type of list, you should just have him and OG like kind of right next to each other in the similar range there. Maybe they're doing a little bit of projection here with, of course, the
He's
Celtics
gonna
having
be
some
awesome
notable
this year, man.
departures. Yeah, if he can take a little bit more of a leap offensively, I guess this is fair. But to me right now, this seems high. Am I taking Derek White? They're very different players, but am I taking Derek White over Trae Young? Hell no, I'm not. And same with Cat. I'm taking Cat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna bash Derek White at all, man. But I mean, it's 26 is it's kind. It's definitely kind. But I mean, he is just the perfect teammate. You know, he is exactly like the if you look up like the definition of the like he's not a role player at this point, but he does just because he does like everything you could ever ask from a role player at a like very super uh very super I was going to say superficient, is that a word? But just in an insane level. I mean, he just has such a sense for the game, you know, and like just is a guy who never really seems to get too phased by it, playing in big situations. And you know, he can deliver and take over when he needs to and become a big time shot maker. We saw him blow up in the playoffs a couple times, put up almost 40. I mean, he's awesome. I mean, you saw him even get love on the Olympic team just because he has such a valuable skill set. So yeah. I think this year it's going to be really fun to watch what Derek White looks like in a real star reliant role, because he's been on some stacked teams where he hasn't needed to do that. Now he's going to be, you know, top or second option, depending on how Jaylen Brown's doing in his recovery. I think it's going to be a big season for D White, and I'm super excited to see it. So I'm
Yeah,
not going to bash this until I see it in full effect. A lot of the guys at this point deserve to be higher because they have been in huge roles.
yeah. One of
So
the most, without a doubt, valuable and multiple skill sets that you'll ever see in the NBA. And if he could build on that, then this is more than fair of a ranking. But with the established Karl Towns and Trae Young and what they've done given their track record,
yeah,
I couldn't put White above a guy like that. But still, White's like a top 35, 40 guy to me for sure.
yeah. I mean, he's just it's hard to bash him because he doesn't do anything wrong.
Yeah,
There's
he's such a
nothing
good
in his
player.
game that you can point to and be like, oh yeah, that's wrong. Like, oh, he could get a little bit better at that. Like,
One of two to
maybe like,
average three threes and a block, just with Wemby.
dude, he's an
Crazy.
awesome shot blocker. He's
Yeah,
maybe the best shot blocking guard in the league if you're not considering one of those wing hybrids.
maybe
Like,
SGA, but those two.
I mean, that's a debate. That's definitely a debate. Like,
I think they both average over one.
yeah. So, I mean,
Ooh, I don't know about this next one here. Yeah, I get the hype with Şengün, especially with the addition of KD and them being a presumed contender now. But as a Knicks fan, I would not even entertain a deal around Şengün and Cat. And I'm sure that the Atlanta Hawks would probably say the same around something about him and Trae Young, but maybe not because they seem kind of indifferent about Trae Young in Atlanta. But I mean, I get it with Şengün. He's kind of a Sabonis type of player. Maybe they should have been ranked right alongside each other as a hub offensive type of big man who can post up, make plays out of the post, and also be an effective pick and roll player. But yeah, at the end of the day, this seems like a little bit of a kind ranking for me.
yeah. I mean, I don't know why he's so much higher than Sabonis.
Yeah, I think they should
Like
be synonymous.
he's maybe a little like quicker for as a defensive player, and they've been able to build a really good defense around him. But as a scorer, like I think Sabonis is probably better. Like especially in terms of efficiency. Like my big thing with Sengun is, dude, he is not like an efficient player really at any level.
Mm-hmm.
Like he shoots below 50% as a near 7-footer.
Yeah, that's bad. I think he
Um,
relies a lot on his offensive rebounding there. It's a lot
yeah,
of like tip misses around the rim and stuff, but regardless, if you're that big, you should be over 50%, especially with his shot diet, where it's a lot of in the paint, like soft touch type of floaters off a pick and roll, and not a guy that takes too many jumpers.
yeah, awesome
But
passer. I'll give him that.
moving on here, fair evaluation for their reigning NBA champion Chet
This is
Holmgren.
one that like people would be mad at.
Yeah, I could see people mad at this one if they just look at the box score, especially
Yeah,
because his points were a little bit down last year after the major injury he suffered. But yeah, I'd say this is a fair ranking. Holmgren really showed his value again throughout the playoffs as an incredible two-way big, and he had some huge moments throughout their championship run. Um, he is a towering defender, one of the best rim protectors you can ask for in the league. And I think his offensive game will only continue to expand. He's shown so many flashes of it being super capable off the dribble, having an effective outside jumper. And I just think those will continue to grow with Holmgren as he's still super young and entering only year 3 that he's been healthy.
yeah. Um, I think this is a fair projection. Obviously, his
Still
season
taking
was
Cat right now, though.
thrown a little bit um out of whack just because of the injury and returning on a team that was contending. But I mean, it's a tiny sample size. But if you look at the beginning of the year, this is at least where he was projecting, probably higher if he doesn't get hurt this year. I think he probably would have been closer to inside that top 20. And he just is, yeah, he's exactly what you want for a modern center. Just rangy, like super great rim protection instincts. He's
Great at timing.
yeah, like just amazing at that. One of the best like timing rim protectors in the league that you'll see for sure. And he's just versatile, like you said, he developed that off the dribble game a little bit at the beginning of the year, but wasn't necessarily allowed to tap into it later on as this team was, they were running as is. So you're not just going to instantly throw in another, creation aspect to this. But I think next year he really will take a jump there. You just got to worry about the strength and the injuries for him, and hopefully he can stay there. But I love Chet. I think he'll take a step. So I think that this is it's another hard guy to rank,
Yeah, for sure. Coming up next, we have the beard.
It's a little high.
Good for James Harden, though. I mean, they had him ranked outside the top 40 last year, and to come in through his age 35 season being inside the top 25 again, that really shows how effective he was last year. And we gave Zoo his flowers for what he was able to do for the Clippers last season, and definitely time to address that with James as well, something we've talked about in previous videos, though. Harden was so effective, especially in the absence of Kawhi last year, and he was rewarded with an all-star appearance and really looked like his old self as far as the volume that he took on for a lot of the year. He definitely doesn't have the burst or the explosiveness that he showcased when he was the best scorer in the league and the offensive powerhouse that we saw in Houston. But this cerebral aspect of James Harden's game will never be going anywhere. So he's someone who can still get to the line in smart ways, orchestrate and operate the pick and roll effectively as a scorer and a facilitator, and he still has that step back three to fall back on in those isolation moments. So no problem with Harden being here. It might be a little bit high. Like, personally, yeah, I would take Cat over him still, and I would probably take Trae Young over him still. But yeah, I think James in the top 25 is pretty fair.
Yeah, he set such a high floor for like a regular season, and like we mentioned with Zubac, just a perfect pairing there. Like when you have a guy like that with Harden, it's just instantly going to be like a 50-win team, which really does deserve a high ranking. I just think kind of the inconsistency and inefficiency in his scoring game, you can't necessarily have him knocking on the door of a top 20 player. Like at this stage, he's not a guy who can really get downhill. He doesn't really have that burst anymore. The shot is hit or miss. When it's hitting and he's, hitting those step backs, it's tough because, when he's on and hitting those, it's impossible to guard, and it's really,
for real.
It's really tough. But at the same time, it just isn't happening enough at this point in his career for him to be at 23, in my opinion. But I mean, still probably I would have him like around 30s.
For me, probably 25 or so. If we move on here, Spicy P coming off a finals appearance and really probably just the best season of his career.
Definitely.
I'd say he performed even better than when they won the finals in Toronto.
Yeah.
But, I mean, yeah, Siakam was just everything the Pacers could have asked for last year. He can do a little bit of everything. He's going to be their primary scoring option this season. So I wouldn't be all that surprised if we see him touch, 25, 26 a game this year, bringing in 8 rebounds, giving out 5 assists, and still maintaining very positive on the defensive end of the court as well. Siakam's just never going to be the flashiest name. He's never going to have that highlight reel that's like making you go look him up and he's jumping out the gym or anything like that. Although we did have that crazy throwdown on J-Dub. But yeah, I mean, Siakam's just as rock solid as they come, and someone who could definitely be a Hall of Fame nominee by the time he retires.
Yeah, he's earned this ranking for sure. He was just, such an off-ball weapon, and it was so fun to watch, him and Tyrese go to work these past playoffs. He's just, hustling, really imposed himself on the playoffs this year, and it was fun to watch. He was a weapon, and now that he's got this 3-point shot that's been falling, it makes him just that much more difficult to apply. And yeah, he's got great two-way ability, and he's a great player, man. I can't bash him after what I saw this past. Not that I want to bash him or anything. He seems like a good guy, but like 22 is it's substantial. It's high, but
It makes sense.
I mean, I'm not going to debate it after what he just did, man.
Especially given the absence of Tyrese, I think it makes sense.
Yeah, he's gonna have a big year. This is too high.
Yeah, this is way too high, man. Bam had a well-documented down year last season. And again, he was not the best player on the Miami Heat last year. He really was not.
Mm-hmm.
He's still an awesome defender. I'll always give him that. And a stat for Bam is Miami has been a top 10 defense every year that Bam has started for them. So,
yeah, he sets a floor there for sure.
We'll give him that. But man, the offense has never taken that leap that we've been looking for since the bubble in 2020. And I mean, we already know what Bam Adebayo is. I do not feel comfortable saying he's better than Pascal Siakam right now. I don't feel comfortable saying he's better than Chet Holmgren or Karl Towns right now. I think Bam should be more in the 30 to 35 range on this list. I don't like this one.
Yeah, I mean, they value the defense. I mean, you should value defense a lot here, for sure. And he certainly is gonna provide that floor of like giving you a damn near around a top 5 defense, kind of like a Draymond Green that we talked about earlier, and how that, since he's the general of that, he's gonna be able to project it up that much, and just the versatility, the impact that he's going to leave on defense is just going to do that. But I think if he had more rim protection ability, then maybe you could advocate for him being this high. But I don't know if he's like the total package that would get him up to a top 20 level.
Yeah.
But I mean,
need to see some offensive development.
The offense was so rough. Like if you're top 20, you got to be like a full two-way player, like it's not like
you got to be able to hit like a 15-foot jumper, right?
Yeah. And like the first half of this year was horrible, man. He was really off. He cleaned it up the second half for sure. I'll give it to him. But like just not nearly aggressive enough at all on the offensive end to justify this.
One of my least favorite shots in basketball is like the Bam Adebayo 1-2 dribble, little pull-up jumper that he takes like right in the paint. I think that's such a gross shot. But it seems like his touch has just regressed, and it wasn't anything fantastic to begin with. So we'll see if we can get that back this year. But yeah, I'm thinking this one's a little bit high. A lot of uncertainty around this guy as well. I mean,
he's a tough player to rank.
One of the tougher players to rank, yeah. But I mean, when he's healthy,
he's this good.
Yeah. So
we all know Kawhi Leonard gets to his spots, hits them.
Your boy Jaylen Brown cracking the top 20. Definitely, I do agree with that. I'm very high on Jaylen Brown and what he can do. I'm excited to see him as a first option as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just as long as he's good to go, of course, for the beginning of the year. But yeah, this is a guy that can put up some monstrous numbers. I believe in his sample without Jason Tatum, we're seeing around 27 a game is what he's usually good for in those games. So absolutely someone who could achieve that for the season. And if Boston is going to, of course, do anything notable and maybe sneak into the play-in or make the playoffs, it's going to be on the shoulders of JB.
Yeah, I think this is a super fair projection for what he's going to do this year. He wasn't this past year, especially with the shot. That kind of tinkered a little bit, but I fully expect him to get back to that, and we've seen it in shorter stretches that he is, he's still JB. He's a super athlete. He's a insane defender. So, I mean, I'm really excited to see what he can do. And we caught a little glimpse at the end of, him maybe taking that leap as a playmaker in that win versus the Knicks, which was awesome. I loved watching that game for Jaylen Brown. So another guy who I'm just so excited to watch this year, man. It's going to be it's going to be really fun to see if he's. Not to see if he's. I have full confidence in him, being a number one option, but to see just how far this team can go.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on here, I simply don't agree with this one at this point.
This is too high.
This is way too high for the sample we saw of Jimmy Butler last year. Butler is on the wrong side.
To 30 probably.
Yeah, he's on the wrong side age-wise. Really wasn't able to kind of step up and be that Miami Heat playoff Jimmy that we hoped to see after Steph went down in the playoffs.
I think that's why he shouldn't be here. I mean, post Steph, he was not what the 18th best player in the league should look like. If Steph goes down and you still have the 18th best player in the league, like you should still have some offensive firepower going.
Hope. Yeah.
Especially for a guy who's not like that elite, like top 10 level defender anymore, like not even top 20 defender probably anymore. Like I get like he does the little stuff, the connective things. He came in and this team got a lot better. But when you're inside the top 18, we're not really valuing the second option ability where, you got to stack up as, a guy who can lead a team. And, these like a Jimmy, a Bam, these aren't guys who are going to be able to lead teams in 2025.
I think a lot of people get caught up on the success the Warriors had right when Jimmy came over. And I know they went on some crazy run and they flew up the rankings and everything or they flew up the standings and everything like that. Yeah, it says right here they went 23-7 with Butler. So that's awesome. But I just don't know how high the ceiling is with this team. And again, Jimmy is older. He's not someone who is too offensively gifted to begin with. So, yeah, to me, this is high. And, of course, Jimmy could prove everyone wrong. He's done it multiple times before, but not banking on it here.
He didn't. He had the opportunity to in the playoffs.
I just mean with, Miami. People always used to count them out.
Yeah.
But moving on here, Paolo, top
high.
20.
That's high.
It's high. It's high.
He wasn't this last year, I mean, yeah. I guess he could be it,
yeah,
but
that must be what they're projecting, but need more efficiency from Paolo, and really need him to show that he is that alpha in Orlando, and he is capable of leading them into a deep playoff run. He is someone who showed some awesome flashes, and as he should, as a first overall pick, he's definitely lived up to it so far. But yeah, this seems high to me, and I'd probably have him more in the 25 to 30 range at this point in time.
Like if Paolo's attacking and getting better shots, then yeah, he's this. But a lot of what Paolo has shown, especially this past year, is like a tendency to like really, settle for those contested mid-range shots.
Yeah,
which are,
it's an ugly shot diet.
It's not a like, dude, that's not the shot that you want to be taking. If you're settling for, threes and hitting them at an okay rate, that's one thing. Because, it's statistically gonna produce a little bit more, but like settling for these shots that are as difficult as threes and like contested, and it's just like, I don't know. Sometimes I get really frustrated watching Paolo because, I mean, dude, you're like 6'10", 250. Like you're amazing when you're attacking. Like, and that opens up
that size.
It opens up the whole offense. And I mean, I think it's led to a little more clunkiness than people think. Like he hasn't been the complete like playmaking like stud like efficiency wise that he really should be too. He's a guy who has been prone to some ugly moments, some turnovers and some bad shots. So but the potential absolutely in there for Paolo, but I think I need some, maturity and some serious like a retooling around what his game should actually look like.
Yeah, and getting into the top 20, you said this a little bit earlier, but these should be rankings you have to earn,
Yeah.
Like, you can't really project someone to be top 20. Like, they have to show it first. So
100%.
Yeah, so to me, more around 25 to 30 is where I'm comfortable for Paolo.
Same. Yeah.
At the end of the year, could he be in here? Absolutely, but you just got to see it
I want to see it first, yeah. I mean, they had... What was Franz? Franz was like around 30.
He was like... Yeah, he was like 32.
Yeah, like that team should not be if that's we're going off, that team was not even like a very uninspiring first round exit, and like a 41 team. So
Moving on here, I'm not liking this one. I think this is
it's
a little bit
horrible.
disrespectful to Devin Booker, man. Devin Booker should be someone who is on the latter side of people's top tens, in my opinion, with his skill set. One of the best scorers in the league, and my dark horse favorite to win the scoring title this year, with those departures of KD and Brad Beal. Book is just everything you want in an offensive player. He is elite on the ball. He can distribute and facilitate and be a primary scorer. And he can also take a back seat and be an off-ball player and someone who can play off of other stars. And on top of this, he has been a much improved playmaker. This is something that he's built on every single season. And when someone is just that absolutely dynamic and dominant in all aspects of his offensive game, 3-level scorer as well, Book to me is a shoe-in from like the 9 to 12 range. I think this is definitely too low.
Yeah. I also want to mention that Tatum and Halliburton are not on this list, so there's no reason to have Devin Booker this low. Whether you like, I don't know, man. I think Devin Booker is just so proven as a scorer, as a guy who can do it efficiently, as a guy who can get to his spots, that and now he's shown more of an ability to even run an offense himself. I don't know. I think he should be higher than this. It's 16, so obviously you can't get too much higher, but he should be a couple spots higher than this.
Yeah, he's a superstar. Moving on right down here with Spida. These two guys are very tough to rank.
They're neck and neck. They should be right next to each other.
They're neck and neck, and they should be. I would just more so have them at like the 11-12 range. But yeah, Spida, kind of the same deal. Absolute explosive offensive player. My personal favorite player in the league to watch. Just love this guy. Love what he brings to the table. One place he does have Booker beat out is definitely in the athleticism department. Someone who can absolutely jump out the gym and put anyone on a poster if he pleases. An elite outside shooter. And again, an improved playmaker. And someone who doesn't get to show it at times, as he is a running mate to Darius Garland, who is the primary playmaker. But Spida can really playmake, and you can see a lot of the baseball background with him. He loves those full court, whipping the pass, cross court, or just really kind of using one hand and throwing it almost like a baseball. But yeah, man, Spida is so damn talented, and to me, a shoe-in for, again, the top 12 or so best players in this league.
Yeah, and he showed that in the playoffs, he was...
And one of the best risers there, yeah. At all times. Moving on, this one's despicable. Anthony Davis is without a doubt a top 7 or so player in the league that should not be up for debate. Anthony Davis is the top 2 or so defender in the NBA, and also pairing that as someone who gives you 26, 27 a night on very strong efficiency. About one of the best players you can hope to get in return if you're going to ship out Luka Doncic. AD, I think, him and Cooper Flag, I'm just so excited to watch together. And this Mavs team should just be a joy to see this year. AD, shoe in for top 7. I really hate this ranking too. These past few have been ugly, man. AD, Donovan, Devin Booker.
It's a tough stretch. You got to wonder who's coming
superstars.
up.
These guys should be in the top 12.
Yeah, these are studs right here. These are, superstars in the league. These guys are like clearly a tier above where they're being placed, which makes you kind of realize this is a lot more of a projection list, which is, I think it's a pretty bold projection for, something that's about to happen, it's like you can't, I don't think you can project this far for a single year. But AD, like you said, he's the top 7 player in the world, does it on both ends. I'd go a little more in depth into, why Davis is a stud, but even though it's not necessary. But I don't know where he should be much higher. This is really ugly to see him at 14, and I would go into it a little more, but we've been going for 2.5 hours, man.
Yeah,
I've had
man,
enough rants.
we'll keep going here, and I don't want to say anything bad about this next guy, man, which is just so frustrating because they really kind of boosted up Evan Mobley a little bit higher than he should be, realistically. I hate saying that, man, because this guy is so damn good. Evan Mobley is one of the best two-way players in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And realistically, yes, this is a spot he can achieve. But going back to what we said about Paolo, just got to see it first, you know? I mean, Evan Mobley hasn't eclipsed 20 points a game yet. So to be in the top 15 players, I think that should definitely be one of the requirements there. And
I think he can be top 20, but he's
Yeah.
not better. He's not better than those superstars that we just saw.
That's the thing. He's not the best player. He's not even the best player on his team yet. Could it happen this year? Yeah, absolutely. But he's not better than Donovan Mitchell yet. You can't comfortably say that.
Yeah. You could potentially have made like kind of a bolder argument that he was this past year, just all that he was doing in every facet of the game, defense, playmaking, you know, putting stress. But yeah, he does need the usage to tick up more to be the 13th best player in the league. I mean,
absolutely.
The defense is awesome, but
again, I'm not going to say anything bad, man. I love Mobley.
Yeah, he's gonna be there for sure. He's
moving on here.
Ascending star.
Man, talk about a whiff last season. We're looking at Cade Cunningham with that 67. Probably going to be a similar trajectory for LaMelo, but yeah, nice. Last one on this portion of the list before we get into the top 11, but not mad at this one at all.
Yeah, he's
someone who could have been in the top 10 in my opinion, someone who deserved this ranking. Don't have too much to say about Cade. We've touched on him a lot. And even in our last episode, you see that we don't think it's too outlandish for him to be in the MVP conversation. So
yeah, like we said, he's an offensive engine.
Yeah. Okay. So that was 50 through 11.
And the top 10 is not too egregious. You know, I think we can kind of fly through this.
Yeah, this is always pretty straightforward. We'll see. They started with the man.
Nice respect for you.
Jalen Brunson. Shout out to Jalen Brunson getting into his first top 10 of ranking for ESPN. Don't have too much to say. You guys know how I feel about my hero, JB. Can't wait for him to build on what he's done. And
he proved it in the playoffs, man. I mean, this guy he's an automatic bucket in the clutch. You know, it doesn't faze him. Definitely deserves it. Man. I found out the hard way.
Shout out to JB, man. More things ahead. Can't wait for a tip-off. Coming up, number 9, KD, a guy who's going to be in here until he retires.
Yep. Super
someone
fair.
Who you don't have to say much about. He's been doing this for about 20 years. Just in a new environment this year. Of course, the curse continues for KD as Van Vliet is out for the season, which definitely makes it rougher for
Van Vliet. Not on this list. I don't know if it's because of the injury.
Yeah, maybe because of that, but yeah, good point. Moving on here.
That's crazy.
Of course, the King is always going to be in the top 10 until he retires. Last year they had him at 7. Here he comes in at 8. Really hope this is not your last season, LeBron. Give us at least a couple more, man. But yeah, we'll see again what he can do this year. LA is going to have 2 guys here in the top 8, so we know that they have a very high ceiling as a team. Moving down, again, it's the three Mount Rushmore guys from the 2010s, KD to LeBron to Steph. You don't need me to tell you that Steph Curry is a top 7 player in the league. We'll just see how Golden State projects this year, and I'm interested to see if they make any moves. Going down, Ant-Man, yep, he's a top 6 guy. You don't need me to tell you that. He's a superstar who's made 2 consecutive conference finals and should only continue to get better. He's increased his points per game every year. And despite the goofy front court over in Minnesota, he's the reason why this team is so legit. Number 5, you have Wemby cracking it for the first time. And I can't say I'm mad at it after what we saw from him last year.
He'll be a top 5 player, I think.
Yeah,
I can say that pretty confidently.
Can we rank him over AD yet? That's like, I don't really feel great about that just because of the sample we've seen from AD, but should he be better than AD by the end of the year? I guess I'd say so.
I think he will be better than AD by the end of the year, and I think probably when they were both healthy last year, I think he maybe was a little bit better than AD, to be honest. I mean, he's the best defender in the league. You know, it's pretty unmatched. You know, just his impact whether he has the technicalities down or not, like his influence on that end is just different,
unmatched.
you know, when you have that space that you're taking up, it's just impossible to match that. And then, yeah, man, I mean, 25 points a game, you know, he just can do it at, you know, more levels than AD. He's not as refined in the post yet, but I mean, the scoring it's coming, man, and it's scary. It's a storm.
He's a scary guy.
He could be like number 2 by the end of the year potentially. I don't know. I don't think he'll eclipse Jokic, but I mean, if we're thinking of potential wise, like he could do a lot of shit, man.
This top 4 to me it's got to be these 4 guys, no matter what order you have them in. They do have Giannis at 4, which is interesting. I would have thought they'd put Luka here.
Yeah,
but
I think just because the defensive side, I would have Luka below Giannis.
And him having a little bit of a down year for his standards.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Giannis at 4, maybe Lucas right next. Yeah,
it's got to be.
These 2 guys are some of the best in the league. I mean, they have him at 4 and 3. Giannis has multiple MVPs to his name. Luka still looking for his first, which could be any year now. But yeah, these guys are as talented as they come. And then you have the reigning Finals MVP and NBA MVP with SGA. And does that just say something about how good Nikola Jokic is, that this guy won every award under the sun, but he's still not number 1? And they're right. I mean, yeah, Nikola Jokic is
there's no way to argue it.
Without a doubt, the best player in the NBA.
He's got 2 basketballs. Look at him.
What a badass. Probably thinking about some horse racing right now or something like that, but his mind might flip to the NBA season soon. We'll see.
No explanation needed. If you watch the game, Jokic is the best, and it's a gap. There's a gap. That's why I said Wemby could only be 2. He couldn't pass Jokic in a year.
Definitely.
But
yeah,
that this was super fun.
The awesome thing to run through.
Great thing to taking a look at all these top guys before the season. Getting to see some of our criteria
a little bit from when we went over those guys in the 60s. But yeah, I mean, I can't lie. I think they did an all right job with this top half of the list.
The top 10 wasn't bad.
Yeah, definitely still some things to question throughout it. But yeah, that was an awesome exercise.
Yeah, it was awesome, man. Super fun, but I got to run. This was a great prelude to the season, and I'm excited to start kicking off some real coverage with you. So thank you guys for listening. If you've made it this far, like, comment, subscribe. And yeah, going to be covering NBA, NFL. Didn't get to NFL today because took a big deep dive into this, but we'll be covering it soon. Maybe next week we'll get some power rankings out. So
yes, sir.
Thank you all, and take care.